every time I buy gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code RACE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code RACE for up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. That's code RACE.
Chiefs fans, this is the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, presented by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman. Life is better with the feather.
I genuinely loathe referee talk, sports talk radio. I hate it. And I hate it just as much whenever it's justified. Now, there's a lot of things that we can look at here today after the Kansas City Chiefs not only fall to the Cincinnati Bengals 34-31, but also fall out of the 1 seed in the AFC. Tennessee with a tiebreaker from that victory a few months back. With 2-11-5 records for the Titans and the Chiefs, Tennessee takes the 1 seed back. And barring a Titans loss next week and a Chiefs victory next week, which for a minute we thought maybe they wouldn't even need to trot out there for that game. Well, now the Chiefs need everything in front of them unless they want to be playing on Wild Card Weekend. And with only one bye week, with the Titans having a chance to get Derrick Henry back, and with the Chiefs being banged up all across the offensive line, their hopes for that bye now rest on the Tennessee Titans next week losing at the Houston Texans. We're scoreboard watching again next week. Say a prayer for Davis Mills if you want. Otherwise, the Chiefs are playing in Wild Card Weekend. Welcome into the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. A truly brutal loss for the Kansas City Chiefs on a variety of levels. I'm Joshua Brisco, Beards McFly on the other side of the glass. Rudy Salazar running around and producing the effort. We will hear from Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, everybody from the podium. And, Jamar Chase was an alien today. The Bengals made good decisions, and the Chiefs made poor ones. And the refereeing was terrible. It was a terribly officiated football game. That is inarguable. And I will repeat this over the course of the entire show today because I want you to know it and I would like for you to believe it. I hate referee post-game breakdowns. They don't play for either team. They're there to enforce the rules, not to change the outcome because of their interpretation of them. They're not what anyone's there to watch. The best thing referees can do is be a total non-factor in the post-game show, in the post-game columns, etc. It's the best thing they can do. And today, they forced themselves to the top of the story. And look, I have never bought some idea that there is some grand conspiracy throughout refereeing in the ways that sometimes fans will interpret it. I don't think the NFL has done any favors by the Bengals winning this game today, and I certainly don't think it does them any favors for that game to have the main takeaway of, boy, there were some bad calls there. Also, complaining about referees is exclusively the lament of the loser. Exclusively. Again, that doesn't mean that it's not justified here today, but I promise you, in Cincinnati, they're talking about Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow right now, not the referees. It is exclusively the domain of the loser. I will give you, in just a second, many things the Chiefs did poorly in this game that were fully within their own control. But man, it's frustrating whenever you can't quite look past a series of calls that change the scope of the game. At the very least, that last call in the end zone, at the very least, that should never have happened. And we should be watching overtime beginning right now. But again, there's about, 4 or 5 things here that I think you can look at where the Chiefs can absolutely own their own issues, because there were plenty of them. They had 2 punts, really. One was worse than the other, but 2 punts where they kicked the ball away on 4th and medium, and one that was 4th and 9. I'm not as hurt about that one. But on 4th and 6 and 4th and 9, they punted from about midfield. The second one was relatively well into Bengals territory as far as a punt can be. It was a punt from the Cincinnati 45. The one earlier was, I think, maybe even narrowly in Chiefs territory. Nope. Yeah, I think that was right. Got a lot of things to scroll through here. But the 4th and 6th punt netted 31 yards, not even because of a great return or anything, just 31 yards of field position. The Chiefs gained that by kicking it away and taking the ball out of the hands of Patrick Mahomes and this Chiefs offense. The Bengals then subsequently marched all the way down the field, just took it from you. Touchdown to Tyler Boyd. Chiefs get the ball back, and I didn't even really have an issue with the field goal that they kicked to tie it, because the risk of not actually being able to even up the game there is brutal. But those punts were completely avoidable. There was the brutal play earlier in the game where Dan Sorensen is one of the 2 safeties back deep. They had, I think, 6, maybe even 7 defensive backs on the field, but they had at least 6 DBs on the field because Matthew, Thornhill, and Sorensen were all out there along with the 3 main corners. I think it was 6. And Ben Neiman, I believe. And Dan Sorensen's one of the deep guys in coverage, as he should simply not be. I, just to be clear, have been consistent on that from the beginning of the season, whenever he was public enemy number 1, to midseason, whenever everyone pretended that he was suddenly playing drastically different football because he caught a tip pass and brought it back to the house. A great play, but his role had changed. He was in a place where he was more efficient for this football team. He should not be one of the 2 guys that you are requesting help from deep, and he bit on an underneath route, and Jamar Chase went past him. That is a poor coaching decision and a bad play by a player who should not have been put in that spot. That's just one thing. Then you have 3rd and 27. And again, I'm going to keep giving you some of the backstory and some things here so you know that I'm not just flying out of my own pocket here. I am not just saying nonsense to say nonsense. These are things that I do not say very often and do not like saying now, but that are true. That's my qualifier to the qualifier. That was the pre-qualifier. Here's the real one. I think Steve Spagnuolo this year, even as the season turned around, the season turned around for this Chiefs defense, I still think that Steve Spagnuolo got too much of the blame for the early season issues and not enough credit for how greatly this defense turned around. He deserves certainly some criticism, and he certainly got a good amount of credit. But I think I could argue that it was too much blame and not enough credit, the whole picture together. Okay, that's the qualifier. Here's the take. You called Joe Burrow young Tom Brady this week. And then on 3rd and 27, when one of his wide receivers is an alien dropped down from outer space who has been beating you every time he's been one-on-one all damn day, despite Charvarius Ward's best efforts, had some good plays, is a great player. You line Charvarius Ward up opposite Jamar Chase, you bring the house, and you ask Charvarius Ward on 3rd and 27 to line up across from an alien and keep that play from happening when no single human being has kept that play from happening with any consistency all day long. And part of Steve Spagnuolo is the blitzes. It's the zero blitzes. It is bringing the entire house. It is challenging young quarterbacks to beat you. But with that connection, with simply Burrow to Chase, that connection had been beating you all day. And this is a point that our dear friend Seth Kaiser pointed out. And on a day where your four-man rush had been doing some good things. If you want to bring Ben Neiman or you want to bring Dan Sorensen on the blitz and try to get yourself a little bit of help, fine. Fine. Say, hey, you know what? I'm not going to stress out even about T. Higgins or Boyd. But you have a chance to either make them kick a long field goal, or maybe if you get to Burrow, maybe you're pushing them out of field goal range. Maybe that was the logic. I'll roll the dice, and if we can push them out of field goal range completely, we're playing for the win, not for the tie after this kick. Maybe. But you rolled the dice, and the guy who had been out leaping you, outrunning you, out athleting you, out angling you all day, did it again. And you don't get to be surprised when that happens. What, Beards?
Do you want a
No.
quick Jamar Chase stat?
No. Yes. No.
Jamar Chase had more yards receiving than Mahomes had throwing the ball.
Oh, what?
Jamar Chase, 266 on 11 receptions. Mahomes, 259.
Rudy just walked by. No, you can come in, Rudy. It's fine. This is how this show's starting today. I was just sitting back in my chair, rubbing my face, and Rudy walked by and looked me outside of the glass and just said, "Are you okay?" Is that what you said, Rudy? Yeah. Beard, can you turn on this microphone just so Rudy can just shout the same question again? Go ahead, Rudy. I'm here rubbing my...
Are you okay?
No! No! Jamar Chase had more yards receiving than Patrick Mahomes had passing. Did you know that? He did it, because the look on Rudy's face just now was one of shock. One of shock. Man, Charvarius Ward is a good GD football player. The Chiefs held Devontae Adams down. It was with Jordan Love, but they held CeeDee Lamb down. It was only for a half. There's no Mark Cooper, but... They limited Darren Waller when he played in that first matchup against the Raiders. We're supposed to hear from Joe Tooney, Tyrann Mathieu, and Darrell Williams. In addition to eventually hearing from Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. I'm sorry, Beards. Just say those again out loud. I'm going to write them down because I'm flustered.
You got it. Joe Tooney, Darrell Williams.
My pen isn't working.
Tyrann Mathieu. Just like Charvarius Ward. On Jamar Chase.
Thuney, Matthew,
Darrell.
Apparently, Joe Burrow, this is something that Mick Schaefer just tweeted. Because again, and look, if we're going to take some calls. I haven't even opened up the comments section. You can watch the show on the Sports Radio 810 Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube channels. I know the comment sections are going to be a mess. Totally justified. Make them a mess. Mess them up. You do you. I'm going to pull them up, and if we get some good comments, I'll read them over the course of the show. I just forgot to do it before the show started because I thought that game was not going to end quite that quickly at the end there. And, we'll circle back on this. Again, this is what Mick Schaefer just tweeted. Joe Burrow, quote, "We got a little lucky at the end. Got some calls." I'm not going to pretend that the refereeing was not even just not bad, but also not lopsided. I will not pretend that that is the case. It was the case. The vast majority of the time, simply poor refereeing evens out over at least the grand scheme of things. But in this game, the Chiefs were robbed of a chance to skip the first round of the playoffs and to host an AFC Championship game. With the help, not because of. I'm not going to say because of, because I guess I'm stopping just short of that. Not just because of, but with help from some atrocious refereeing that was not even-handed. Lucas Niang, by the way, he started the game at left tackle because Orlando Brown Jr. appeared to injure his calf in pregame. He was ruled questionable with a calf injury. He never played a snap in this game. Lucas Niang stepped in at left tackle. He has torn his patella tendon. According to the Chiefs, calf strain for Orlando Brown. Patellar, excuse me. That's the ligament by your kneecap, right? There was actually an interesting tweet from his agent or trainer or something. I'll go find that later and give you a little more backstory on what that looks like for Lucas Niang. So thought it was very interesting, as we now know that, again, patellar tendon torn for Lucas Niang, calf strain and warm-ups for Orlando Brown. And that sucks on multiple levels. One of the reasons that hearing from Joe Thuney will be good is because he moved to left tackle when Niang was injured. Played well there, I think. But you could just pick about 15 different places where you could focus your energy here. And this is one of those games where I will not sit here and tell you, come on, don't get stuck on the referees. It's not worth it. No, it was miserable today. It was miserable. And the NFL is in a position where they could make that job a lot easier for their referees with some really simple things that they have simply refused to do. And no one's going to talk about it because all the talk shows all we're going to be about Antonio Brown throwing a hissy fit and leaving the field shirtless. Bruce Arians, by the way, has said that Antonio Brown is no longer a Buck. Bruce Arians also has said some things like that before. Didn't he say Antonio Brown will not be a Buck right before they signed him? Did that happen? Maybe I'm hallucinating. Maybe my feet are too cold, like Antonio Brown. Or maybe my spray-painted helmet is too tight, like Antonio Brown.
We'll just wait till we see what Tom Brady has to say.
That's kind of what I'm thinking. There was the tweet here. Oh, come on. All right, I don't have it yet. I'm going to get you more information on Lucas Niang. It's just, here we go, from Brett Yaris. I apologize for not having the specifics of his relationship with Niang. I think he has worked with Lucas Niang significant amounts of time. He said, if Lucas ruptured his patella, which is what it looks like, which is now what the Chiefs have confirmed it was, simple reattachment surgery and he'll be back well before camp. Patella was already weakened from mismanagement at TCU. Surgery will have him entering a season at 100% for the first time since he was 18 years old. So if you want to have a little bit of optimism there from Lucas Niang, he's out the rest of the playoffs. He'll be back hopefully by training camp, and then that experiment will restart. I don't know how much longer Mike Rimmers is going to be out. Kyle Long and Prince Tega Wanogho were inactive today. They will not be inactive next week. I'm pretty confident. We'll see. I would think that the Chiefs would want to put Joe Thuney back at guard, pending Orlando Brown being back. We'll see. The thing here that, and then we'll start taking some calls here in just a second, but the thing here that is most frustrating is that this game mattered for the Chiefs. It mattered a lot. The difference in this league between the 1 seed and the 2 seed is an ocean. Because let's say they go out with the exact same lineup they finished today's game with against the Broncos. Who doesn't think they win that game? Okay, I think they do, clearly. Jerry Jeudy is not Jamar Chase, and whoever would be throwing him the football isn't Joe Burrow, et cetera, et cetera. they were in a spot with a win against the Broncos next week where they could have given Orlando Brown 2 full weeks off, only missing the Broncos game. They could have then given everybody 1 full week off, including the guys who are coming back from COVID who aren't quite 100% back yet. Patrick Mahomes said last week Tyreek Hill was exhausted. I don't know where Hill and Kelsey were at today, sort of endurance-wise, but you'd have to think that not back to 100% would be a pretty reasonable thing to say. We haven't even talked about them not letting them score at the end. We'll get to that in a second also. But you get that rest, and you also end up in a position where you do not have a chance to lose in the wild card round. It could be the Bengals coming to Arrowhead. It could be really, I guess, anyone from that division. In fact, I think right now it probably projects to be one of those teams. I'd have to double check. Weirdly, I am the most furious about the blitz on 3rd and 27 because the only thing you can't do there is give up 27 bleeping yards. And the only way the Bengals were going to pick it up is going to be by throwing a ball to an alien with 5 arms. Not even 4 like you would think. One of them's on top of his head. Because there's not a pass within leaping range of Jamar Chase that I don't expect him to catch. Remember the training camp stories about his drop issues? Those are funny. And then at the end of the game, I mean, the Chiefs had a chance to just say, no, let's pull Burrow into the end zone here, and then we'll have we could have had 2 minutes with all 3 of our timeouts, and we'll go march on the field. And instead they said, no, we're going to try to stop him here, which they did, by the way, and say we're going to force him for a field goal. Well, they didn't even kick the field goal. They're going to go for it again. And then either they were going to make it or give the Chiefs whatever it would have been, 50, 40-some seconds, to go 65 yards and hit a field goal with no timeouts. I didn't like any of those results for the Chiefs. Again, look, playing better defense earlier would have been clearly the right thing to do. But in the different options they would have had of be down 7 with a minute and a half and a couple of timeouts, or still have to go 65 yards with no timeouts in 40 seconds, I'm not sure that either of those situations are vastly different, and one of them was not a guarantee by trying to stop them and figure that out there. Letting them score, you at least know what's in front of you. Now, again, this game is probably ending right about now if it wasn't for a poor call at the end. But in a game going like that one, like that is a part of the equation. Your corners have been hanging off of Bengals receivers all day, and they've been calling everything all day. I want Patrick Mahomes to have the football. We'll either take some calls or go to Cincinnati to hear from Tooney, Matthew, Darrell Williams, one of those guys. Beards is on the Zoom. We'll keep an eye on it. Yeah, just whenever you see a face, Beards, you just let me know who's going to be there, and we'll get there. It's just that this is a brutal loss, not because I think vastly differently of the Kansas City Chiefs right now. I really don't. I think they're basically the same team we thought they were, just that we now know they can't cover Jamar Chase. What's different now is that they're probably gonna have to do it from the 2 seed unless Davis Mills becomes Ryan Fitzpatrick next week against the Titans. When Derrick Henry could be back, Julio Jones probably will be back, A.J. Brown is back. I mean, it is a crushing loss in terms of what this team's January is going to look like. Because we've also seen from this team, I mean, anything can happen. That's always really been true in the NFL, but never more so than in this Chiefs season. So I'm going to pull up the standings. Right now, the Bills and Patriots are both 10-6. You want one of those teams to come to Arrowhead in the wild card round? It's probably the Ravens, Steelers, or Browns, I guess, the second place team in the AFC North. Maybe it's the Colts They're 9-7 right now. You want the Colts to come to Arrowhead? Or how about the Raiders? Chiefs are better than those teams. I think they probably beat all of those teams, but I have to say probably. You know, they were definitely going to beat no opponent with a week of rest to get guys healthier or back into better shape or just not get more damage done to them for a week. And they ran an Engage 8. This is God bless John Madden. I got to talk about it some on the Border Patrol earlier in the week, so I'm not going to I won't go full eulogy here. But one of the 5,000 legacies of John Madden is that we all watched the end of that game and went, that is wild clock management, and we watched Chief Spagnuolo run Engage 8 with Joe Burrow throwing to prime video game Randy Moss one-on-one against a good starting NFL corner. Two things that Madden has taught us all more about than the Chiefs put out there tonight. Also, Madden gave us robot referees, which I would love to see. Don't think you can really implement it. Not the same thing as a robotic ump strike zone. You need human beings to do that job, at least for now. But three things there that Madden taught all of us. That was a wild blitz against a quarterback who's been handling it with a receiver who will catch everything. That was some shocking clock management whenever you have Patrick Mahomes. And referees are better whenever they're robotic. We'll take some calls here. We'll start off with Gary. Hit me, Gary.
Josh, after watching that game today, I think one thing's obvious, that head coaches are nothing more than overpaid PE teachers. I mean, what they're doing, the stupidity on the sideline today, I mean, everybody's throwing bouquets of Spagnuolo. The last two games they've played teams that have offenses that are capable came down to the wire because of the defense's inability to stop anybody. And let's not forget, the Chargers leaving 9 points off the board, so they could have lost 2 of their last 3 realistically. But I'm convinced that Spagnuolo is the love child of Greg Robinson and Bob Sutton, because I just don't see this. And, you know, you go into January and you're playing like this defensively, you don't do anything. And on that final drive where they kick the field, you got to be more aggressive than that. You got to keep your foot on the pedal. And Andy took it off in that second half on the drives they had. He wasn't aggressive at all. And Zan Anderson, he better be cut after this. And, you know, I think one thing is glaring too, the lack of attention that was paid to the corner position last offseason in the draft. They ignored it. It came to fruition today, and it doesn't matter who the corner was. They were all torched. And anybody that talks to Matthew today when he speaks, ask him if he was actually on the field today, because I don't remember seeing him doing anything spectacular. The tackling was atrocious, which is a Chiefs thing. Second week in a row, Chris Jones jumps off sides on a third down, allows him to get a first down. Last week he did it twice. This week he does it again on third down. I mean, the play where Snead got called for the horse collar, you got to be smart in those situations. Don't give him a reason to throw the flag. Mm-hmm. You can shove him. Just don't do anything stupid. And these guys are not smart football players. And another play, too, we can look at is the drop by Hill on the 64-yard pass by Mahomes before the half. Yeah. The stupidity on that one, he should have had that. Nobody's going to call Hill out on that. I am. Kelsey, too, had a couple drops today. One of them, I think, was on third down, but I think they came back and got the first down the next one. But, you know, you can look at several plays in this game that weren't the result of officiating, but at some point, and this defense is going to be the thing that knocks this team out of the playoffs. This defense, they had that nice run, and Tyler Boyd was right. The Chiefs were lucky getting the games that they had with that defense, but you know, in the last 3 games when they faced teams that had capable players on offense, they've had to squeak them out. But, you know, at the end, this is on Spagnuolo, man. Spagnuolo for just not making any adjustments as far as coverage goes, keeping the three of the worst corners in the league. And I don't care what you say. You tell me a team that would have one of those guys as their number one. Fenton's horrible. Ward's horrible. They've got to blow up those 3 corners. And, you know, to see Dan Sorensen out there struggling in coverage again, and like I said, and the stupid penalties, it's just stupidity on the part. They're not correctable. They don't want to correct them. They don't do anything to get better. That's the difference between – you can look at Tennessee. Vrabel's teams play smart. They don't do stupid things. Belichick's teams play smart. They don't do stupid things. That's why Andy's teams Andy's got a lot of regular season wins. I think that's great, but you can also look at the postseason and say maybe that's part of the reason why he doesn't, because his teams aren't smart like those other teams. And I'll take Vrabel against Reid any time, because the only game Reid won against him was the AFC Championship game, because Vrabel's teams are more physical, they're stronger, and they're tougher. I'll hang up and listen. Great show.
Appreciate you, Gary. I can't go through everything Gary says every time, because there's always about 3 things that I really agree with, and like 3 things that I really disagree with, and that's taking calls from Gary. I don't think you can say that Andy Reid has a bunch of regular season wins and then say you take Vrabel, even though Andy Reid's win over Vrabel is in the AFC Championship game. But whatever. I'm not. Everybody else will pick up a part of what Gary said they don't agree with, and that's fine. The Tyreek Hill drop frustrated me. How about this also? They had that shot. They were picking up 70 yards on that throw. Tyreek Hill drops it, and then they just run out the end of the half. Again, something the Chiefs have done multiple times now. They took one aggressive shot that worked, except for it bounced off of Tyreek Hill before he tried to actually kind of double clutch it. And then they said, nah, never mind. We took our one shot, it didn't work, we're done. The punt on 4th and 6 in Bengals territory. Your punt gave you 30 yards of field position. All that did was give the Bengals more ground to cover to slowly grind out the remainder of breath of life in your lungs. What good did that do for you? Nothing. Nothing. Put them back 31 yards instead of giving your offense a chance to actually pick it up. And again, look, man, to be clear, I don't think that you can just say, Andy Reid's teams are undisciplined and Steve Spagnuolo stinks. Because we didn't say any of that nonsense for 7 weeks or whatever, 8 weeks, whatever it's been. But you can nitpick at some of these individual things and say, how do we end up here? I'm not going to spend a breath talking about Zan Anderson. He's an undrafted rookie who's playing special teams. He was called for a hold. He should have let the guy go. I get it. That stunk. Maybe another crew doesn't pick up that call. I have no idea. I don't really care. What is frustrating to me is the stuff that could have been done differently, where by people who should have done better. Dan Sorensen was in a role in one of the biggest plays of the game today that he should not have been in. You know who should have been back there? Tyrann Mathieu would have been nice. Here he is live from Cincinnati.
First with Sam Mcdowell. Go ahead, Sam.
Hey, Tyrann.
Hey.
Can you kind of just describe the emotions of those last 2 minutes there? I mean, obviously you guys elected to try and go for the goal line stand. You get it, but there's a flag. I mean, what are the emotions of those last couple minutes there?
I mean, obviously, man, you never want to be in those kind of situations, especially, with the offense that we have. Obviously we would like to get off the field and give those guys at least, 45 seconds to a minute to kind of do what they need to do. Outside of that, I thought we fought pretty hard, when those guys did go down there. I didn't think today was our best day. I didn't think we tackled well. I didn't think we, really tried to stop deep balls, on the outside. And, I think playing cornerback in this league is a tough job, but we could get it done. We could do it, and just felt like today, just wasn't our day.
Let's go next to Adam Teicher. Go to Adam.
Tyrann, you talked about today just not playing well defensively. Any particular reason for that? And I know the Bengals are good, and Chase is a really good player, and Burrow's a good player, but any particular reason you felt like today was one of those days on defense?
Well, I thought just kind of, piggyback off, really what the theme was all week. And really it was how are we going to respond when those guys make a big play, when things don't go our way, when we can't get off the field. This is a response, driven league. And I just didn't think we responded well enough today. I know some people are going to talk about, certain calls that were made, late in the game. And, outside of that, I still feel like we could have responded, a lot better, defensively. Hats off to those guys. They got a great young, core that could really play football, So those guys were prepared. I just didn't think we responded, the way we were prepared to respond.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Go, Pete.
Tyrann, I know you know Jamar Chase well with the LSU ties. Just what did you make of his day, and was there any chatter among you and Spags and just the defense, and maybe just trying to think about maybe giving some extra help to Javarius there or whoever was assigned to him on any given play?
Yeah, I thought he had a great game. I thought a lot of things kind of went his way. A lot of balls he caught today, we could have been better, as far as our angles to the completion point. I didn't think we tackled, as well as we've been tackling the last couple months. And anytime you're playing against a player like that, they're gonna expose you. If you having an off day, like they're gonna be the reason you get exposed. So, hats off to the kid. You had a great game. I'm hoping that he could keep it going, going forward. But I think for us, really what I said a couple minutes ago is, even if guys make a big play, catch a ball or, get a touchdown, it's all about the next drive and how we respond. And, we had some moments in the game where we responded well. But when we really needed it, we just couldn't get off the field.
Let's go next to Steve Walls. Good, Steve. Steve, we can't hear you. We're going to have to come back to you. Let's go next to Nate Taylor. Go, Nate.
Hey, Tyron, I know you mentioned earlier the big play that the Bengals were able to have, but can you just describe what it's like when you feel like you're this close to getting off the field on 3rd and 27 and they convert to keep that drive going to end the game?
Yeah, that one hurt, man. I'm pretty sure we all want that one back, as far as the players, even Spags and the coaches as well. I think, it's kind of good to have certain learning moments. Obviously, you never want to lose, especially, when we're chasing the things that we're chasing. Any loss feels like a letdown. It feels like you're going 10 steps back, and we just can't really let that affect us going forward. We still got a lot to play for. As of right now, we're still the number 1 seed. And so it's important for us to kind of keep that in mind. We got another big division game next week where those guys aren't going to just let us win the game. They're going to come out and try to compete. So we got to learn from this one, as bad as it hurt, playing in a decent environment where, they got a lot of young playmakers that can make plays. We just got to do our best to kind of learn from it and turn the page because, like I said, we still got a lot of football, that we need. We need to have confidence, going forward.
Last two, we're going to go by and then Herbie. Go by.
Hey, Tyron, just to go back to the 3rd and 27 play, what's your sense of risk reward in that moment going into the play when you guys are blitzing like that? And obviously you want to see it play out differently, but how do you see it going into the play?
I think with the way the game was going, the kind of plays that those guys were making, the points that they were able to score, I think every series is important, when you talk about not allowing them to get points. And so I think in our mind, we were playing for those guys to, hopefully play for a field goal and kind of play into our hands. But, they had another game plan in mind, so, and it worked. So they got us. So we'll learn from it. And I do believe we'll grow from that particular, scenario.
And last to Herbie. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Tom, you do mention turning the page, and there is a lot riding on this last game. How do you and your teammates go about rallying and turning the page so you are mentally prepared for this final game?
I mean, you just go back to work. You don't point fingers. You don't blame coaches. You don't blame a particular play, a particular series. You just go back to work. You keep bonding with your teammates. You keep that chemistry alive, and you keep believing in your coaches as well. I think the reason we've gotten this good and we've gotten better as the season went on is because we believe in our coaches, and so we just got to keep that mindset. Obviously, Big Red won't let us relax, so we'll go back to work this week, and that's what we need. We just need to go back to work and just continue to believe in each other.
Thank you, Tyron. Appreciate the time.
Thank you.
One point of reference there on Tyron Matthews' comments. He said something about how they are still the 1 seed and that's good. They are not the number 1 seed. The Tennessee Titans are the number 1 seed. They're both tied now. They're both 11-5, and the Titans obviously have the head-to-head tiebreaker there. So this game just took I think I called it this a week or two ago, but like the single largest systemic advantage that a team can gain in the NFL that is written in by the rules to say, you do this, not as a loophole or anything, but a given thing. You do this, and you will be given this. You are the best seed in your conference. You get to skip the first round of the playoffs. They are not there right now. Here's Joe Tooney, who kicked out from left guard to left tackle in today's game.
Hey, Joe, wondering, have you played any tackle before today since you left college? And also, how do you feel you did given the circumstances? I'm assuming you hadn't practiced there all week or all season. How do you feel you did today?
I think I had a series or two at right tackle a couple years back, and then, I think there's always room to improve, and gotta give credit to our O-line coaches and the whole offensive coaching staff. They always do a great job preparing us each week, and just kind of just the next man up mentality, and I just have to take a look at the film, but there's always things to work on and things to improve, and just try and look at the film and try and get a little better for next week.
Let's go next to Pete Sweeney. Good, Pete.
Just how difficult is a task to find out, in mere minutes that you gotta go to that left tackle position, and then what does it take mentally to kind of adjust?
Yeah, I mean, just kind of just a different position, going from guard to tackle, but like I said, got to credit our offensive, O-line coaches, our offensive staff, and then the guys in the room are great. Orlando was great, talking, and the whole group just talking to each other, tips and pointers and reminders, and so it's really just a unit. We're just next man up mentality, and just want to be out there playing, and I think that's how everyone feels, and regardless where it is, and just want to play football and just want to win, and so yeah.
We'll take three more going right down the line, starting with Herbie. Go ahead, Herbie.
Hey, Joe, as a follow-up to Adam's and Pete's question, two-part question here. Going from left guard to left tackle, how much easier is that, say, compared to moving over to the right side? And then lastly, as a follow-up to Adam's question, how often do you take reps at left tackle during practice during the course of the year?
Yeah, I mean, left guard to left tackle is, a little easier of a transition because your feet are kind of still in the same. But yeah, it's just, just everyone in the group, wants to play, and just, got to be ready for whatever, and, get a sprinkling in of reps at tackle. And so just, yeah, but just like I said, credit to the guys in the room, O-line coaches and the whole offensive staff, and just, preparing us every week. And you never know what this stuff's going to happen. And, just got to play together and communicate the whole time and just keep trying to work and get better.
Next to Todd Palmer. Go ahead, Todd.
Hey, Joe, appreciate your time. I know you don't want to take any moral victories from a game like this, but you guys had a season-high 155 yards rushing against that Bengals defense that sells out to stop the run. What does that say about this group and the ability to not only pass protect, but also kind of impose your will in the run game when you need to?
Yeah, I'm really proud to be part of this O-line group. It's a bunch of hardworking guys who love to play together, and as offensive line, run the ball, pass the ball. We just want to, give our running backs great holes and give, Pat a clean pocket. And, the running backs did a great job running today, and tight ends were blocking, wide receivers, everyone. So, it's a team effort. Just want to, execute the plays that are called. And, yeah, just we'll take a look at the film and try and, keep improving, keep moving forward.
Last to Matt Derrick. But Matt.
Hey, Joe, appreciate the time. Hey, playing tackle, is it like riding a bike? Did it come back to you? Everything, back from the old days? And do you miss playing tackle?
It was, it's just different. There's just a lot more, space out there, and it's just I'm not sure, but it was just want to do what the team needed, and wherever the team needs me, I'll play. And Nick was great at left guard talking. Creed's always good at center, and did a great job communicating, and just working together for the game. And I'll play wherever.
Joe, we appreciate the time. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
There's Joe Tooney. Let's spend the rest of the show breaking that down. We've got Bears. Where do you think we should start? God bless Matt Derrick, who we'll talk to later, for trying to just get hey man, do you like playing left tackle? Do you have an opinion on anything? No.
His coach speak skill tree is maxed out.
His coach speak rating on Madden is in 99. No question. Yeah, 100%. And he's really good at his job, and he played pretty well at left tackle for a guy. I will say that the one thing he let slip there, and that man has grown up as a football player in New England, you could tell, is that he said he played some right tackle a couple years back. Like a couple drives at right tackle, I think he said. It's been a while since he's played on the outside. He played well in that space. It's just, I mean, we're not going to spend any more time talking about the Chiefs' offensive line today because that wasn't why this all went bad. Maybe we should. Maybe it's good that we heard from Joe Thuney. You got a nice effort from Nick Allegretti at left guard. Everybody else held up. Andrew Wiley at right tackle held up with the team missing their top 3 tackles. Seriously. In whatever order, it's Brown, Niang, and Rimmers. Those are their top 3 tackles by a mile, missing all of them today, which is also kind of brutal because it probably reminds you of how you were feeling about 11 months ago as they were taking the field in last year's Super Bowl. Not a great feeling there for a team that redid their entire offensive line. We are still to hear from Darrell Williams, plus later we'll hear from Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid here on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. I'm Joshua Brisco. It is the Sports Radio 810 Postgame Show brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Here's a little pick-me-up for you because our team score is your % off. They lost, but they scored 31 points, so you get 31% off all day tomorrow. CBD American Shaman, life is better with the feather. Darrell Williams is not coming to the podium. He's on the bus, we've been told. So Joe Thuney and Tyrann Mathieu today, and then we'll get Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes in a little bit. Means we can get back to the phone sooner, though, so fine with me. Ryan is up next. Ryan, tell me how you're feeling after 34-31.
Well, I don't want to ruin the
show. Do it in an FCC-friendly way, please.
Hey, this is all right. That's a good team. We got Mahomes. Things are not looking good on the offensive line. What do we want? Positive? We want negative? What do we want?
I want honest. I want genuine. I want.
So let's go negative first.
Real Ryan, yeah.
Yeah. Referees, I don't complain about them either because you can't control them. I mean, like, but what the heck?
Yep.
Is that FCC? I mean, I want to go.
No, you're good. You're good.
Okay. Also, just drop passes. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, that's the one thing I can say about this year in this offense. I've seen a lot of them. So just honesty. I mean, what are we doing about that? And if Mahomes wants to be great, we're going to have to play on the road sometime in the playoffs. I mean, let's go. I mean, you're really scared of all the teams that are in. I'm not.
No,
I want to play this. I want to play this team again, and I don't mean to cut y'all for this one point, though.
You're good. You're good.
No. For this one point, though, I don't want to play that team again. That looks like a dang good team. They set up a team record. No, it's just you're not going to win 8 in a row, and I'd rather lose today than in the playoffs, right? So let's go readjust and go from there. Positivity. Now, you pump me up for a second. I want to stay on the phone for you to make sure I'm still positive.
Well, so here's the thing on that point. No, man, I think the Chiefs are better than, I think they're better than anybody else in the AFC. I think that if they played the Bengals again tomorrow, I would pick the Chiefs to win that game. I would like to think they'd do something different for Jamar Chase, but I don't know. But no, I'm not afraid of the Titans, the Bengals, or the Bills, or the Patriots, or the Raiders, or the Colts, or the Chargers, or the Dolphins, or the Ravens. I don't, the Steelers, certainly. I'm not afraid of any of those teams from the Chiefs' perspective. What is killer, though, and that I just don't think that this part of it doesn't have anything to do with how good the Chiefs are. They had a week off. They had a vacation. They had a week to not only not get more hurt, but to heal and to prepare for whoever was going to come back around. And now they're going to have to bleep around and then try to have to deal with the Raiders, Colts, Chargers, Dolphins, Ravens, one of those teams to come to Arrowhead in that first week. I think they'll win that game. I don't expect them to lose any of those teams, but I would rather them not have to play that game. That is an impossible thing to win back because the advancing you can advance with a win, but you can't get those miles back off those feet.
So it was a big opportunity today, and they didn't come through with it. So no, I agree with that. And so, but the good thing is, it's not like we have a Tom Brady on our side, or Aaron Rodgers that are kind of staring down Mahomes. We do maybe have a foe now that Bengals look really good today. I mean, Burrow looked really good. I remember him having the cigar in his mouth, and at the end of the Louisiana, State University championship. I mean, I think he grew up poor. I mean, you're looking at a guy that was pretty good, but we said that about Josh Allen, 2 last year. So Mahomes, at least, I'm getting tired of people staying on the other side of it. You know, that, oh, did we find his replacement in the AFC? No, they have not yet because no MVP yet, Super Bowl. So that's where I'm at. I think we'll be all right. Did they think? Yeah, but in the long run, I always know it's kind of, you know, good to get kicked in the face before you actually want to fight. So, you know, at least it's going to wake you up. Josh, I don't know if do you remember the Freak Show on 810 with Jake and them? You kind of sound like that guy, that voice-wise. And that's not a knock down or anything, but you're starting to sound OG at 810. And so I want to tell you that. I don't know what that means.
I don't either.
Well, here's the thing. I used to like talking to Jack and Danny.
Sure.
But now we expect to talk to Josh. That's cool. And
I
we'll be all
appreciate
right,
that.
though. You're not as negative, and you're more positive. So it's a good thing. I don't know.
I try to be well-rounded, Ryan. I appreciate that.
And I'm ending positively. So let's get somebody else on here, too. I don't know. I was agreeing with Gary, too. That was it. I don't know.
I love whenever you and Gary find places to agree, man. That makes me know that the show's going good places.
2022 should be doing better.
2022, Ryan and Gary on the same page on things. That's my motto.
I'll coach the defense.
That sounds good. Thank you, Ryan. Look, man, I think just about everything Ryan laid out there is totally fair. And look, as Chiefs fans, we're going to have to get used to the idea of every week it's somebody to be a contrarian is going to say, I'll take this guy over Patrick Mahomes. Someone will say that every week. It'll go around on Twitter. They'll get some engagement. They'll get follows, and their video will get watched. And then Patrick Mahomes will have a great game, and they'll figure it out. I would take Joe Burrow over Patrick Mahomes the next 5 years right now. I also really like Joe Burrow. I really like Justin Herbert. I like Kyler Murray. I love watching young quarterbacks come into this league and take the torch from guys like Roethlisberger, Rivers, Breeze, eventually Brady. I am glad that this league has guys filling into those spots. I really am. But Patrick Mahomes ascended so fast that he is already, as a young guy, he is already getting who's next. Because he became the guy so quickly, which is incredibly impressive. It's just right now it can be kind of annoying because you end up getting these coronations every week leading up to Mahomes versus somebody else. But again, Burrow was great today. Jamar Chase was great today. Like, just about perfect today. And again, I don't think any of the teams that the Chiefs could face in the wild card weekend are better than they are. But I'd rather them not have to play. Next up here, we'll go to, I'm trying to get the numbers right. We'll go to Mark. Mark, tell me what's on your mind.
Hey, JB. Well, first and foremost, I don't know why nobody has said this yet, but you did speak of engagement. And so, congratulations.
Thank you,
on
Mark.
your recent engagement. Too bad we can't celebrate that when the Chiefs win.
Yeah, I know. I thought we might have a lot of fun ring talk today, and it really got dampened by this game. It really did.
Dang it. Actually, I'm kind of sick to my stomach watching that game. But
I thought you did because I was off the market officially. That's fine. Sorry, go ahead.
No, well, I've been married a long time.
Okay.
So it's okay.
Sorry, go ahead. I appreciate the chuckle.
I'm going to try to, first off, channel my inner Bruce because I am sick after this win, but we are still a Super Bowl caliber team. Mm-hmm. We still have Patrick Mahomes. You know, barring today's defensive performance, which really was poor, very, very poor, we still have a top 10 defense the way they were playing outside of today. Mm-hmm. I personally think Cincinnati, I was hoping that we could overcome it, but they have, I'm going to say, it's the kryptonite to how the Chiefs play defense because they have a lot of talent on the outside. They have a good young quarterback, and we run a defense that relies on our cornerbacks being man-to-man a lot. That's just the kind of defense that Spags runs. Mm-hmm. And I agree with you. He probably shouldn't have gone out with an all-out blitz, but when you trust your corners all year to man up, even though he wasn't doing it much today, I'm not surprised that he did it. That's usually something the Chiefs offense does to defenses when 3rd and 27. We can convert those plays. There really is no other team in the playoffs that has the kind of offensive talent that Cincinnati has. So I'm not really worried about our defense laying another egg like this. I just, I hope that if we do have to play Cincinnati, that we face them at home because, to be honest, maybe we haven't really talked about this much, but next weekend becomes a must-win.
Yeah.
Because if Cincinnati wins, I think they move into the number 2 seed. And I don't want. Do you want to play that team again in Cincinnati?
Nope.
I don't.
No, I don't particularly want to do that. No. And you're right. If the Bengals were to win next week and the Chiefs were to lose, the Bengals would jump them. The Bills could also jump them with a Chiefs loss and a Bengals win. I guess the Patriots all could, but only one of those teams can win the division, obviously. So.
Yeah. So I'm. They are still pointing up. It's hard to get past it. And the refs. You could point to them, but really, our offense played well enough to win today. Our special teams. We didn't miss any field goals or extra points. It was our defensive unit that let us down today, and that happens.
Yeah, I appreciate the call, Mark, and the congratulations. Appreciate it, and let's just keep moving forward, everybody. We're gonna do okay here. Though I would add this: the defense clearly let the Chiefs down in a big moment, and this is sort of a win-win criticism for me because I'm going to say it, and you're going to go, well, yeah, obviously, dummy. But what I'm really at, here's where I'm really at right now. Part of being a defensive coordinator in this league is knowing when to stick to your guns and knowing when to be malleable. This is when you go, yeah, Josh, obviously. It's like saying it's knowing when to blitz and when not to blitz. It's football Shakespeare. Obviously. But Steve Spagnuolo has also, and this is why this is frustrating, Spags has won games sticking to his guns as a creative blitzer, and he's won games respecting the quarterback and saying, you know what, blitzing this guy is not the play here. I got to do something else that ultimately challenges them in a different way. And on 3rd and 27, he ran essentially engage 8. And that's frustrating because that is a choice. And maybe that's why some of the ref stuff doesn't bother me as much, because again, it's just stuff that, like the caller earlier said, it's stuff you can't control. If you want me to get riled up about the refs, ask me what the league could be doing. In fact, I'll you know what I'm going to do? Don't ask me, because I'm going to take a couple more calls, one more call, and then we got to sneak in our first break here. But you want me to get riled up about refereeing? I'll tell you later what riles me up about refereeing. It's the fact that the NFL has set up their crews to fail. They have taken chances, easy places they could make the referees' lives easier, and they have chosen not to do it for reasons that do not make sense to me. I can fix a large portion of refereeing issues with a referee in the booth and a pair of AirPods. I'm not kidding. That would do it. I can talk more about that later. I want to get Butch in here, though, before we take a break. Butch, appreciate you waiting on hold. Go ahead. Go ahead, Butch.
Gentlemen.
Yeah.
Well, that game was drunk. Let me tell you. Woo, okay. Man, let me try and make this quick. Seeing is believing in the NFL. And you just found out that there's an absolute mutant that exists in your conference.
Yep.
Woo!
Yep.
That was hot. I mean, I hadn't seen something like that since high school. That's high school level stuff, gentlemen.
Yep.
That's Randy Moss Thanksgiving Day stuff
Yep.
that we saw from Jamar Chase. And look, I get it. I'll go ahead and toot my own horn. I went and watched the tape on the last 4 games, and I heard people talking about the Chiefs are going to win. My prediction for this game was Chiefs winning 27-23. For that reason right there. They were just a little too explosive. They were just a little too well coached on defense. And when you go back and watch this tape, you're going to see the use of Jesse Bates and Von Bell to really keep a lid on this defense in the second half and be able to hold up in man coverage in ways that your guys couldn't. And you have some decent corners. Don't get me wrong. They're above average. They're nothing like this. You've got a problem in this conference. Things is fixable. Your guys are good enough to fix it. Your coaches are good enough to fix it. If you were to see this team again, they could have went a little more two-man. They could have played their defense probably a little more like you've seen other defenses play the Chiefs over the same amount of time. Keep a lid on your defense, especially on that 3rd 27. But, guys, it was weak pressure. I mean, the Bengals have to be giving up the most sacks in the league on pressure weak. That's why that call was made on 3rd and 27. So I get it. It just backfired. One is an alien. He's a freaking freak of nature. I've never seen that in it. I'm sorry. I've never seen that before, guys. I haven't. We could talk about all the things that are going to happen with the playoffs. I'm not there yet. The season isn't over with yet. So y'all can be anxious. I'm not. I'm going to get ready for the next week. You play 18 to 17 games in a year. Stuff like this is going to happen every now and again. It's tough. That was fun to watch, though. Get yourselves ready for next week.
Anything we should savor? Not savoring the flavor of a loss. It's good to know. Appreciate you, Butch. Here's one thing on the pass rush front. There were 10 quarterback hits logged against Joe Burrow, and none of them came from anyone in the secondary or in the linebacker group. Again, this isn't pressures, and so that might change some things, but Chris Jones was credited with 2 sacks and 3 total quarterback hits. A sack and 2 hits for Jaron Reed. A sack and a hit for Frank Clark. No, sorry, 2 quarterback hits from Melvin Ingram, 1 from Alex Okafor, 1 from Mike Dana. Pressure got there, and again, some of those might have come on blitzes and stuff, so I'm not saying those are all just lined up one-on-one pass rush wins. Not saying that by any means, but just as a quick glance over at the box score to try to put that into perspective, I would have much rather, man, if they wanted to cover Jamar Chase like a gunner on a punt and then bring one less pass rusher there, I would have rather have them done that. Line up Charvarius Ward and Tyrann Mathieu outside of Jamar Chase and crush him off the line on 3rd and 27. Don't let his body get to the 27-yard line, much less with a chance to catch the football. Or make him make a miserable sort of route and make him make a miracle happen. It was a fabulous play just with Ward in coverage. I don't know why you ask him to do that on his own. That is not necessary. We need to take a break here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show. Lots more coming the remainder of the show. We'll hear from the Chiefs side, the Bengals side, and continue to take your calls. Talk to Matt Derrick of Chiefs Digest. Lots to cover here as the Chiefs lose a frustrating win, 34-31. They fall to the 2 spot in the AFC. Need some help from the Texans against the Titans next week, and they need to beat the Broncos themselves. Otherwise, they'll be playing on Wild Card Weekend. It's the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Kevin Harlan here from Monday Night Football on Westwood One. Join Hall of Fame quarterback Kurt Warner and me for the final Monday game of the regular season as the Browns play at the Steelers. Both still have a shot at the playoffs, and if retirement rumors prove true, it could be Ben Roethlisberger's final game in Pittsburgh. Join us for all the action on Monday Night Football.
Kansas City's home for the National Football League. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
Hey guys, it's Grunny here for my friends at CBD American Shaman. Man, I love football and I love big scores. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman stores the day after the game. If Kansas City puts up 30, it's 30% off all the next day at your local CBD American Shaman store. If they put up 50, you got it, 50% off all the very next day. Now that's a big win. CBD American Shaman. Life is so much better with the feather.
Hi there, Gary Giles with Giles' Jewelry. Everybody knows Giles' Jewelry is the place to buy an engagement ring. Thousands of diamond rings, quality second to nobody. Come on into Giles, 95th and Antioch, right in front of the big Hy-Vee. Jocelyn's Jewelry. We're the jewelers you'll recommend to your friends and family.
Jocelyn's Jewelry for the best that's yet to come.
Kansas City, you're on the clock. Jason Anderson here from MainStreetPreowned.com. If you've been looking for a quality used car, truck, or SUV, I've got the answer. MainStreetPreowned.com. All makes, all models, over 500 used vehicles to choose from, all with dealer cash rebates up to $2,000. MainStreetPreowned.com. Their inventory is constantly changing every 15 days, so it all has to go and is constantly being restocked with more. MainStreetPreowned.com. That's MainStreetPreowned.com.
Your money management is now manageable. With an account from Central Bank, you'll have all the tools and technology you need to move, manage, and maximize your money the way you want, when you want. And you have the perk of local branches right in your community when you need some one-on-one time. Because we do banking better. Open your account online or in person at any of our convenient locations. Central Bank. Strong roots. Endless possibilities. Member FDIC.
More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Plus, players have 3 nights a week to play Powerball. Now Monday nights. Every ticket you play creates opportunities for Missouri students. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly. The Whole Person connects people with disabilities to the resources they need to live independently and enjoy the many opportunities this great city provides. We're focused on creating a fully accessible community where opportunities and choices are not limited by disability. The Whole Person delivers programs and services that enhance the confidence of people with disabilities by providing the skills needed to live, learn, and work in the Kansas City Metro. The Whole Person serves both Missouri and Kansas. Learn more by visiting thewholeperson.org.
Happy holidays and happy bowl season from your home for the college football playoff, March Madness, the NFL playoffs, and the Super Bowl. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Hey, happy 2022 from all of us here at Sports Radio 810 to all of our listeners. Thanks so much for making Sports Radio 810 a great place to work and Kansas City a great place to live. Hopefully 2022 will bring great luck to all of the sports teams you're rooting for.
Mark your calendars now, January 20th through the 23rd at the KCI Expo Center. It's the RV Show presented by Unlimited RV. Millions of dollars of RVs all under one roof, and they all have lifetime warranties. It's January 20th to the 23rd, the RV Show at the KCI Expo Center. Forest River, Keystone, Coachman, Winnebago, and more. January 20th through the 23rd. Only $5 to get in, and the kids are free. It's the RV Show presented by Unlimited RV. RVShowKC.com. That's RVShowKC.com.
Football season is heating up, but is your furnace ready to tackle another cold Kansas City winter? Better call Bob and get a $99 furnace safety inspection and cleaning. Your team is counting on you. Time for a new furnace? Get a brand new one for just $68 a month. Bob Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, Router, and Electrical. Better call Bob.
Call 888-4BOB. Remember 913.
Listen up, sporting fans. Central Bank of the Midwest invites you to score a better banking experience with our new sporting checking account. Now you can show off your team spirit at the match or on the go with the official sporting debit card. Plus, you'll gain access to Central Bank's award-winning mobile app with more than 30,000 reviews and a 4.9-star rating. So, score big today by opening your sporting checking account at any of our convenient Central Bank locations or by visiting sportingchecking.com. Member FDIC.
It's time to ring in the new year, and why not find out what it means to drive the rings? If you've always wanted an Audi, call Audi of Shawnee Mission and take one home today. Or check out their inventory online at AudiShawneeMission.com. Stop in today to see why Audi Shawnee Mission is rated one of the top dealers in the Central region by Audi of America. Audi of Shawnee Mission's brand new state-of-the-art facility is located directly off I-35 in Merriam, Kansas at the corner of I-35 and 67th Street. Visit Audi-ShawneeMission.com. It's the season of Audi at Audi Shawnee Mission.
And the push coming from the likes of Williams from behind. They get the first down. First down. Play action. Touchdown, Kansas City. DeMarcus Robinson. 29 yards out.
That was a great play, a great route, a great play design and execution. We'll make that our Andy Reid call of the game, brought to you by Olathe Subaru. At Subaru of Olathe, let your love give back during the Subaru Share the Love event. Find your new Subaru now at SubaruofOlathe.com. Handful of things that we will get to over the remainder of the show here today. But first, I want to clear out the phone board if you're on the hold, online or on the line or on hold, as I was going to say. If you can currently hear my voice through the phone that you've called in on, we're going to get to you here this segment, starting with Doug. Doug, tell me how you're feeling after the Bengals took down the Chiefs today.
Josh, Happy New Year.
And to you.
I'm sick to my stomach.
Mm-hmm.
I'm old enough to remember. I listened on the radio to the longest game in history, the Chiefs versus the Dolphins on Christmas Day.
Mm.
And that's how I feel today.
Yeah.
Just a couple of things. I think this will really be talked about quite a bit in the next few days. I think Andy Reid should have let them score a touchdown.
Yep.
Just like Belichick did with New England several years ago. To give Mahomes as much time and as many timeouts as possible to go down with hopefully the tying touchdown and go to overtime. The second thing is right now we're the number 2 seed.
Correct.
And next weekend is really critical for us for 2 reasons. One, it could assure us of getting 2 home playoff games.
Mm-hmm.
And if the Titans were to fall in their first playoff game, we could conceivably host the AFC Championship game.
Yes.
I didn't want to see the Chiefs have to go that route, and it may not be likely, but we have a lot more in front of us. My biggest concern is the offensive line. And then the last thing, man, and I'll let you go, I don't think the Chiefs defense played that poorly today.
Mm.
I think Joe Burrow hit passes that literally were like dropping dimes.
Mm-hmm.
And the defenders were right there, and it just didn't go our way today. But I have a lot of confidence in the Chiefs, with one exception. I'm concerned about the offensive line and also what Reid was thinking about down at the goal line at the end. So Thanks so much. Congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Doug. Always good to hear from you. Appreciate the call. I mean, the offensive line thing I think is the biggest takeaway in the long term here. If Orlando Brown is not back for the playoffs, that's the horrible news. If Mike Rimmers isn't back for the playoffs, that's horrible news, with Lucas Niang most certainly being out for the year. Andrew Wiley has played fine at right tackle. I don't think that's a game ender for anything, but not having Orlando Brown there and then being able to move Tooney back in, I do worry about that, even though Tooney at left tackle was good today. It would probably be fine. I also think it's reasonable to say the defense wasn't all that bad today, at least if you were to take away the penalties. Craig Stout of KCSN tweeted out earlier, the Bengals converted just 4 of 10 third downs on the day. The Chiefs defense was pretty decent when they actually got there. Unfortunately, the other 3 third down conversions came via penalty. So it ultimately made them 7 of 13 on third down, which feels very, very different than 4 of 10. I'm worried about the line. I think they messed up. And here's the thing. They got the stop in the goal line scenario, and then it still ended up coming back to bite them on a ticky-tack penalty. And that is one of those places where you say, man, at the very least, like if the refs just don't throw that flag, that game goes to overtime. What happens in overtime, I don't know, but that game goes to overtime. Next up here, we'll go to Dan. Dan, appreciate you waiting on hold, man. What's on your mind?
Hey, Josh, how you doing? I'd like to start with the good. The Chiefs, the offense did good. Yeah, 2 touchdowns by Darrell Williams and Robinson, and with a touchdown and a touchdown by Travis Kelce. No, the defense didn't play that badly. They got 3 sacks. They held Higgins to 62 yards, but one guy. Chase would have to at least get double team. Chase on 3rd and 27. Did you agree on that call, or what do you think? Do you think they should have brought more defensive help to help Charvarius Ward out? And and before the half, that big kickoff return by Pringle and Anderson with the flag. Boy, that would have been the game right there. And then I would like to tell you something, Joshua. Fenton, he looked like he was clapping. It looked like it was going to go on the Bengals, but unfortunately it wasn't. But I'm still optimistic. I think we still can get the number 1 seed. We need some help, but even if we got the 2 seed, let's go. Take care of yourself, Joshua. Happy engagement. Take care.
Thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. And look, you're right. I mean, everybody grab your favorite piece of Houston Texans memorabilia to pop on for this next weekend, because the 1 seed could still be there for the Chiefs. Everything else there, I think is all good stuff there from Dan, including on that 3rd and 27. What would I do? I acknowledge that Steve Spagnuolo has lived and died on the blitz very often. And today he died on the blitz there. Again, the defense was not terrible all throughout. That call, though, is one that if it's 3rd and 7, I think it's different. Because, hey, 3rd and 7, you just got to have your best call to get a 3rd down stop. 3rd and 27, they need to pick up 20 yards before I think they seriously would consider going for it to prolong the game and potentially be able to win it without giving you the ball back. If you give up 7 yards on 3rd and 27, they're kicking that field goal on 4th and 20, and you're getting the ball back with a minute and a half and a couple of timeouts. I don't think you can send the entire defense and then leave Trevarius Ward one-on-one with Jamar Chase. We all do this thing in sports, and I'm guilty of it right now, 100%. But we all do this thing where the last thing we see is usually the thing that we end up thinking is the most important, and that's not always true, but I'm having a really hard time letting that particular play go. I did not like that call, and I think that we saw Spagnuolo give more respect to Joe Burrow in his press conferences this week than I think we ultimately got, at least in crunch time. And then you also get the big play where Dan Sorensen gets burnt, all of that. It's just the facts of where we ended up here. Next up, we'll go to Paul. Paul, tell me how you're feeling. Bengals 34, Chiefs 31.
Oh, it's a tough one. We should have, would have, could have, had to have it. We didn't get it done. But a couple of comments I'd like to make. I'd sure like to see the analytics on what the probability factor was in that 3rd and 27. That would crush my heart.
Yeah.
But,
I would advise just don't look at it. You know the answer.
I'm not going to look at it now. Here's the thing I would like to comment. You had a guy out there that was in a Stephon Curry mode. He was hitting everything that he threw up.
Yeah.
So the best thing, how does everybody, all the experts on TV, talk about Mahomes? Make him drink Gatorade all day. Why did we not come out in the second half, pound that rock with Williams, short passes, check downs, control the clock? We see that Chase and Burrows, these guys are just, they're Larry Bird and Garnett, Curry, and Draymond. They can't miss.
Mm-hmm.
Keep them on the bench, drinking Gatorade, getting IV. That's all we need to do. And I thought we could have done that a better job. 3 points in the second half. I'd like to hear you talk about the offense, how they maybe didn't help the defense in the second half a little bit. And look, the playoff season starts now, guys. It really does. We're starting next week in Denver, and, even if Tennessee beats Houston, which is a high probability, they could get knocked off in the playoffs because every team, right now we got the Colts coming to us as it stands now, and, Taylor and those guys. So we got to put it behind us, but we don't have to put it behind us because we got to make sure that if a guy's hitting like that, like Chase and Burrows, get them on the sideline. And great show, guys. Thank you.
I appreciate the call, Paul. Thank you very much. And I'll take what you said about the offense in the second half. I'm just going to tweak it a little bit because I spend plenty of time talking about stuff like time of possession and controlling the clock and everything because I think largely that something like time of possession, and I don't think Paul mentioned that phrase in particular, but just for the sake of it here, the phrase time of possession is in that stat is an indicator, it is a symptom, not a cause of how the game went. Winning time of possession doesn't inherently give you anything, but you can look at the time of possession and get an indicator of what the game may have looked like. I think people use that stat backwards a lot in a way that ends up not being as helpful as some other measurements can be. To your point, though, Paul, you look at what the Chiefs did in that second half, and they did run the ball pretty efficiently in terms of, can you keep the Bengals off the field or whatever. The whole idea of keeping an offense off the field is secondary to me to this. If you're going up against an offense that is playing like the Bengals were today or like teams that have to come up against the Chiefs on a frequent basis, here's what matters the most to me. it's not the number of possessions as long as you're getting the same number of them, right? Now, the Bengals ended up with 2 extra possessions in the second half, and it ultimately ended up being the 1 extra, but they started with the ball and ended with the ball. That is a place where you can steal a possession. If you end the game with the ball and you don't have to give it back to the other team, or you start the half or the game with the ball, that's an advantage that you have out of the gate there. Those possessions matters. Also, turnovers matter. If you turn the ball over, you've given up a possession to your opponent, and now all of a sudden you're in a hole. What the Chiefs did, though, is the Chiefs voluntarily twice, and you can make an argument for a third time. I will not make an argument for the third time. But on 2 of their 3 possessions in the second half, they gave the ball back to the Bengals when they didn't have to. And one of these, I think I'm going to have to work for some of you on. The other one, I think you ought to be with me easily on. But hear me out. 4th and 9 at the Chiefs' 44-yard line. Tommy Townsend punts 35 yards to the Bengals' 21-yard line. Gets a couple of yards there, pushed out at the 24. A 35-yard punt, and 4th and 9 is a tough conversion. And if you don't get it, you give the ball back to the Bengals at about midfield. Maybe they go score right away. They ultimately ended up punting on their next drive, so this one worked out fine for the Chiefs if you purely played the result. And I didn't tweet about it at 4th and 9. So you know what, 9 yards is kind of a lot, and with the game's at that point, we'll see. Well, then on the second time, this is the one that I think is easy. It's 4th and 6 at the Bengals 45. Townsend just had 1 poor punt, and you're across midfield here. They punt 31 yards to the Bengals 14. Instead of letting Patrick Mahomes in this offense try to pick up 6 yards 1 play after they just picked up 6 yards. They had 3rd and 2, okay? 3rd and 2 is the point where this drive really shouldn't have gotten this bad. 3rd and 2, they convert to Blake Bell up the middle, but Andrew Wiley held and they move back, and there was illegal motion on Tyreek Hill. That's where that drive really hit a wall, okay? If you're going to point fingers, it can be on Hill and Wiley for their penalties there. But once you get to 4th and 6 at midfield, a punt that only moves the Bengals back an extra 30 yards than if you just turned it over on downs is not worth the price to me of giving Patrick Mahomes a chance to actually make a conversion there. If you convert, the drive continues. And again, the drive had been working really excellently until those penalties on 3rd and 2. Mahomes to Darrell Williams for 11. Incompletion, you get to 2nd and 10. Darrell runs it for 19. Darrell Williams runs on 1st down for 8. Derek Gore doesn't get it there, but you have 3rd and 2. So, all right, 3rd and 2. 2 yards, and we're going to keep it moving. Certainly 4 down territory and 2 yards to go, you would hope. Then you get the penalty. The offense was doing its job there until that penalty came in. But at 4th and 6, you've got to have an idea of what you're willing to give up field position-wise. And if you want to play the results, didn't matter where the Bengals started with that ball. They were going to go score a touchdown. In fact, moving back 30 yards only gave them more field to grind through and just sort of have the game begin to tick away. Now, of course, you don't know they're going to score whenever you give them the ball back. You don't know that their last 2 drives are going to combine for nearly 11 minutes of game time. But what you do know is the probabilities and your offense. And this is why whenever I nitpick on little 4th down calls, and sometimes people get annoyed with them, I understand why it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like a worthwhile thing to spend time digging in on until it becomes a really big deal. I try to be ahead of the curve on those things. I don't like to just be reactionary without any context of me caring about those things previously. And in that spot, I would much rather risk 30 yards of field position to give Patrick Mahomes 1 chance to pick up 6 yards to keep that drive alive. But that wouldn't have been an issue if Tyreek Hill didn't have illegal motion followed by an Andrew Wiley hold, you know? And maybe a lot of those things get glossed over if there's simply not a bad call made in the end zone at the end of the game. But that's also how these games go every week. The frustrating thing here is there are 10 different places where if the Chiefs do something a little bit better or a little bit different, we're talking about them winning this game 34-31 and all of these little things. If you talk about them too much, you're negative. If you gloss over them, you're too positive. Whatever. I don't think very differently about the Chiefs right now than I did 4.5 hours ago. I think they're the same team. What I did learn is that Ja'Marr Chase is absolutely an alien. And I was pretty sure of that previously, but now I got to see it firsthand. Beyond that, I don't know if anything is new today, other than their spot in the AFC. Beers, can I take these 2 calls and then sneak in a break? We got to hear from Joe Burrow also. We got a lot of stuff to squeeze in. Let me go ahead and whip through these calls. We will probably take a break from the phone lines after this. But Joe and Dan, let's go Joe first here. What's up, Joe? Thanks for waiting on hold.
Hey, Jace. How you doing, babe?
Good. How are you?
Good. You know what? One of the things that disappointed me most was obviously, in the first 2 quarters we were, being assertive and playing, and obviously, we started backing off. So and this is the thing. We started like halfway through the second quarter, we started backing off and playing the zone with Neiman and Sorensen in the scheme. And they were backing up in the zone, and they were like 15 yards under where they should have been. And they got burnt. It was a horrible situation.
Yeah.
And they did it again. And on the offensive side, when, granted, you know what? Darrell Williams, I like him better than Hilaire. Mm-hmm. He was balling, doing another camp. But Andy Reid decides not to set a foot on the gas to kill teams. For whatever reason, I don't know if he's remarkably I respect you or do that. But we could have killed those guys easily in the third quarter, and we decided to run the ball.
They might have been able to do it at the end of the first half, and I appreciate the call there, Joe. Thank you for listening and for calling in. Because here's the thing, man. Because you're right. I agree with you. I'm sorry to cut you off if you don't feel like I agree, but I do. They didn't even need to do it in the third quarter, though. I'm talking about the punts and the penalties there. They could have done it at the end of the first half. Tyreek Hill dropped the deep ball. That's why another reason this game is frustrating is there are so many things. If they go slightly differently, the result of this game is different. And yeah, of those, there were plays this team made today. There was a great play by McCole Hardman, a great play by Demarcus Robinson, a great play by Byron Pringle, a couple actually. But there were times when a play was there to be made, and they either took a penalty. A couple great plays from Byron Pringle, actually. There's really 3. But Byron Pringle had a great offensive, defensive, and special teams catch. He went up and up to get that one pass up over his head. Great offensive play. Great defensive play, breaking up an interception. And a great special teams play because he housed one that came back because of a penalty. Shout out to Byron Pringle today. 2 good games in a row for him. But in some of those instances where there was a play to be made, either somebody didn't make it or somebody else undid it. That's a brutal place to be. Last call here for a minute. We'll go to Dan. What's up, Dan?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. Hey, I want to give a shout-out to the Bengals crowd, man. How loud was that stadium today? They were rocking, and they certainly influenced a lot of penalties that most of us don't agree with.
Mm-hmm.
But I know the talk tomorrow is going to be, Joe Burrow. I felt like the guy threw up a whole bunch of 50-50 balls, and that was smart.
Yeah.
Because Ja'Marr Chase against our D-backs is a 70-30 ball, right?
Yeah.
So I guess give him credit for that. But lastly, I can understand the 3rd and 27 blitz if Spags only looked at that play in a vacuum and didn't watch the whole game.
Right.
In the sense that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He went to just try and push him back and he was thinking try to push him back as field goal as much as possible to take that ball over, as if he didn't even consider the fact that the first down was possible.
Yeah.
So I get his thinking, but you just had a guy that was 220 yards at that point. But anyways, hey, my daughter Ellie has one more thing to say to you.
Hey, Josh, congratulations on your engagement.
Thank you very much to both of you. I really appreciate that. Thank you, guys. Thanks. Whoops, I hung up on him as he was saying thank you. You think by now, how many years have I been doing this show now, Beards? What's it, 2.5, 3? You think by now I'd figure out how to not cut somebody off by accident with the hang up button. I'm getting there. Thank you for the kind wishes there and the good points. Yeah, Joe Burrow threw some 50-50 balls, but like you said, they were 75-25 balls because Jamar Chase has magnets for hands and he's an alien. It's amazing. It's a fabulous football performance. Why don't we, Beards, before you wander off, why don't we take a quick break here while you handle that? Don't go anywhere for 30 seconds. Beards is nothing's on fire, but it might as well be. So we'll come back. I want to bring that little Joe Burrow clip from postgame. There's some good stuff from him today. We'll get to the locker room. Plus, we'll get Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and a lot more. You can also watch the show live on Sports Radio 810 Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube channels. It's the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show presented by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power Powerball. Now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturdays.
At BOK Financial, we believe that no financial challenge is too big and no opportunity too small. We're guided by our commitment to make a difference in the communities we serve. BOK Financial, we are community focused. Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a pick six from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
Hey Kansas City, it's Dustin Colquitt. Did you know that on average, Americans spend about 15 hours shopping for a car? That's almost 5 football games. If you have better things to do with your time and want to avoid stress, check out the concierge service at OneRequest.com. The OneRequest concierge team will find your car, negotiate the deal, review the paperwork, and arrange delivery. You got a trade-in? They'll handle that too. Experience car shopping made easy at OneRequest.com. Don't forget, that's OneRequest.com.
Ryan Radke from Westwood One with a preview of Sunday Night Football with Aaron Rodgers and the 12-3 Packers hosting the Vikings. Minnesota is alive in the playoff hunt but can't afford another loss. They did win the first meeting back in Week 11, but they'll need to break the Packers' perfect 7-0 home field record this season to get the sweep. Join Mike Golick and me for the call. Packers and the Vikings on Sunday Night Football.
Kansas City's home for the National Football League. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Tired of searching for sports updates in different places? The Xfinity Sports Zone gives you the ultimate sports hub experience. Find games, commentary, news, and highlights all in one place. Use the voice remote to get instant access to stats and scores. Just say, "Show me NASCAR" or "Soccer scores." Plus, get notifications with breaking news alerts and more when the game's about to start. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store for details. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity TV service with X1.
At Robert Brogdon's Olathe Kia, they're so confident in their new vehicles, they're offering a 90-day money-back guarantee with no mileage restriction. From the 2022 Kia Telluride to the 2022 Sportage or Soul, get what you absolutely want or return it if it's not right for you. Plus, all new Kias are backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty. Command the season in a new Kia from Robert Brogdon. Shop OlatheKia.com or stop by. Just a short drive from I-35. Customer must register vehicle. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details.
Hey guys, it's Grunny here from my friends at CBD American Shaman. Man, I love football and I love big scores. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman stores the day after the game. If Kansas City puts up 30, it's 30% off all the next day at your local CBD American Shaman store. If they put up 50, you got it, 50% off all the very next day. Now that's a big win. CBD American Shaman. Life is so much better with the feather.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a pick six from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
Building a pool is not a job for amateurs. If you want a pool you'll enjoy for a lifetime, call the pros at Pro-Built Pool and Patio. Pro-Built Pool and Patio is the largest provider of fiberglass pools in the region. Unlike liners, fiberglass pools from Imagine Pools and Pentair Pool Equipment are built to last, and they have over 200 different design options to fit your space. Pro-Built Pool and Patio offers competitive pricing, financing, and the fastest install timelines. Get a free quote by calling 816-786-3893 or go to ProBuiltPatio.com.
Third down and 10. All kinds of time to unload it long. Holtman has it, and he's out of bounds at the 10-yard line. Got away from Hilton, we just spoke of, and they connect on a 53-yard pass and run.
That play was a lot of fun. It felt like the Chiefs' offense really getting to a good place, and it ultimately wasn't enough in the grand scheme of things. That play still felt like a little bit of magic. It's our Mahomes magic moment, and it's brought to you by BOK Financial. Whatever you want your company to be, there's BOK Financial. Be ready with BOK Financial. Member FDIC. We usually go down to the field to hear from Patrick Mahomes or Travis Kelce or one of those guys right after a Chiefs victory. We got really into that pattern as of late, but the Chiefs didn't win today, so it was Joe Burrow down on the field. We'll hear from the Bengals quarterback whenever he spoke on CBS immediately after the game.
Well, congratulations. What a drive to set up that game-winning field goal against the Kansas City Chiefs, no less. And you guys said this was a barometer for you, and then you go out, you win this game, and you win the AFC North for the first time since 2015. Can you just describe the moment of seeing that ball go through the upright there?
It was a great feeling. We got a little lucky at the end. We got some calls. But sometimes you got to get a little lucky. We had a great drive. Didn't finish it off the way we wanted to, but got some calls. Evan, he did a great job for us kicking today. He battled through some stuff. Excited about where we're at. AFC North champs. Obviously, we knew we could do it going into the season, but to come out and do it, I think it's a great day for us, great day for our fans, great day for the city.
Great day for your former LSU teammate, Jamar Chase. I mean, a team record of receiving yards, 3 touchdowns. Just explain what it's like knowing that he's out there every play of the game and that you've got him in your sight.
You know that meme where people, I just look around, oh, Jamar's out there somewhere, and I throw it over there, find him. He's a great player. He's going to be a great player for a long time. But not just him. We got T, we got TB, we got Joe Mixon. I mean, our weapons are some of the best in the league.
And how about for you, the confidence-wise, close to 1,000 yards over the last 2 games? How much confidence are you playing with right now?
I'm seeing the field great. My coaching staff does a great job preparing me for these moments. And I got great teammates, and the O-line played well today against a really good front and a really good blitz package. Their defensive coordinator does a great job, so I'm excited.
How are you feeling, by the way?
Good enough.
All right, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Hopefully you get a chance to rest next week.
Yeah, thank you.
The Chiefs Locker Room Report is brought to you by Twin Peaks. No one does football like Twin Peaks. Whatever your preference, they have everything from tequila cocktails and an extensive bourbon category to top shelf spirits and cocktails served over ice balls. Local craft beers and handcrafted whiskey cocktails round out an adventurous drink menu, second to none. And don't forget about their 29-degree man-sized drafts at Twin Peaks.
He's even likable, man. It's just as bad as it can get. He, thanked the referees, I think, 3 times there, and Stoll, he also mentioned this in his formal presser. Also, I saw the clip of it. He said, look, everyone knows it's F it. Jamar's down there somewhere. That started as a Chiefs meme of Patrick Mahomes just going F it. Tyreek Hill's down there somewhere. The Bengals played the Chiefs style that way today, and the defense at the end did not have an answer when they absolutely needed one. Whenever it seemed like they did have an answer earlier in the day, they just, ultimately they didn't get enough points on the board. It wasn't a terrible game of football by any means. It was just a bunch of individual things that, when stacked up together, ended up costing the Chiefs a victory. We'll take a break. Whenever we come back, we'll hear from Andy Reid. He didn't talk for very long. I'm not sure he said very much. It's been a while since the Chiefs had to take the podium after a loss, and we'll see if Andy Reid follows in the footsteps of Tyrann Mathieu and Joe Thuney today, and we'll hear from the Chiefs head coach whenever we come back here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show, presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Brought to you by Casey's own CBD American Shaman. Come on into your local Shaman store for a free sample of stress-sacking CBD. Everything is better with the feather.
Ryan Radke here from Westwood One with a preview of Sunday Night Football. NFC North action coming up from Green Bay when Aaron Rodgers and the Packers welcome in the Vikings. Kirk Cousins and Minnesota are alive in the playoff hunt, but at 7-8 can't afford another loss. It's a tough order as they face a Packers team that has already claimed the division title and holds the best record in the league at 12-3. But the Vikings won the first meeting back in Week 11, and head coach Mike Zimmer says his Vikings will be ready.
Weren't good enough. We had 3 turnovers and ended up getting 10 points out of those. And then, defensively in the second half, we gave up a couple big plays that end up getting scores for them. So get back to work and keep fighting.
Join Mike Golick and me for the Vikings and the Packers from Lambeau Field on Sunday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Did you know running your dishwasher every night with Cascade Platinum actually saves water?
Saving water smarter with the dishwasher.
It's true. An Energy Star certified dishwasher with Cascade Platinum uses only 4 gallons of water per cycle, while a running sink uses that every 2 minutes. Every load saves water.
Saving water smarter with the dishwasher.
So do it every night. Run your dishwasher with Cascade Platinum, the surprising way to
save water.
Running your own business can feel a lot like running a one-person relay race. When you've got to expand your team, share the baton with Indeed. Their all-in-one hiring platform has smart tools to help you attract, screen, and hire quality candidates to your roster. With Instant Match, the moment you sponsor a job at Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from their resume database that fit your job description. Learn more at Indeed.com/credit to get started today. That's Indeed.com/credit.
It's coming.
Rodgers under center, takes the snap, looks right, fires right, caught by Davante Adams.
A yard deep in the middle. Evans got the ball. Touchdown, Tampa Bay.
The home of the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl 56. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Kelsey is in for the Kansas City touchdown.
Sports Radio 810 WHB. America's largest all-sports radio station.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
Susan, I'm sorry I'm late. Traffic is terrible.
It sure is. But on top of that, gas prices have been skyrocketing. I can't believe how expensive gas has gotten recently.
Prices at the pump are up, but I never pay full price for gas anymore. I just use the free Get Upside Gas app that pays you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get paid cash when you buy gas with the Get Upside app?
Yes, up to 25 cents a gallon cash back every time I buy gas.
And does that actually add up to anything?
Some months I make $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the free Get Upside app now.
Download the free Get Upside app now in the App Store or Google Play to save up to 25 cents a gallon when you buy gas. Use promo code RACE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's up to 50 cents a gallon on your first fill-up. You can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app and use promo code RACE for up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. That's code RACE.
Kansas City, you're on the clock. Jason Anderson here from MainStreetPreowned.com. If you've been looking for a used vehicle, MainStreetPreowned.com has it. All brands, over 500 used vehicles are available at MainStreetPreowned.com. Every used car, truck, and SUV comes with dealer cash rebates up to $2,000 just in time to pay off those credit cards from the holidays. They make the process easy, and they've got your vehicle now because they turn over the inventory every 15 days. MainStreetPreowned.com. That's MainStreetPreowned.com.
More play and more power with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Plus, players have 3 nights a week to play Powerball. Now Monday nights. Every ticket you play creates opportunities for Missouri students. So play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly. Mark your calendars now, January 20th through the 23rd at the KCI Expo Center. It's the RV Show presented by Unlimited RV. Millions of dollars of RVs all under one roof, and they all have lifetime warranties. It's January 20th to the 23rd, the RV Show at the KCI Expo Center. Forest River, Keystone, Coachman, Winnebago, and more. January 20th through the 23rd. Only $5 to get in, and the kids are free. It's the RV Show presented by Unlimited RV. RVShowKC.com. That's RVShowKC.com.
Happy holidays and happy bowl season from your home for the college football playoff, March Madness, the NFL playoffs, and the Super Bowl. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Hey, happy 2022 from all of us here at Sports Radio 810 to all of our listeners. Thanks so much for making Sports Radio 810 a great place to work, in Kansas City a great place to live. Hopefully 2022 will bring great luck to all of the sports teams you're rooting for.
Hill already with a couple of catches in this game. He has set now the new Kansas City single season mark with 106, breaking Kelsey's record of 105 set last year. 3rd and goal. Mahomes finds his man right on the goal line. It's Kelsey for the score.
It wasn't all sweet today, so it sometimes becomes easy to forget that there were some excellent things done by the Chiefs today, and specifically by the offense. You just heard our sweet play of the game brought to you by Andy's Frozen Custard. 'Tis always the season at Andy's Frozen Custard. Stop by now for their famous Santa Brownie Sundae made with store-baked brownie, or try the Andy Nog Shake, perfect for a midday pick-me-up. And make it rain Andy's gift cards this holiday season, a perfect stocking stuffer starting at just $5. Andy's Frozen Custard, we know where you got that grin. Get a grin from Andy's, even if you didn't get one from Andy Reid today, and certainly not a lot of grins coming from his post-game press conference. He did not talk for a terribly long time. We will get to him right after we get to this.
Andy Reid is presented by Robert Brogdon Buick GMC and Robert Brogdon Olathe Kia. Visit BrogdonAutomotive.com. And by Andy's Frozen Custard. Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy. Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
We'll start with the opening statement, including some very relevant injury news. Orlando Brown did not play in this game after suffering a calf strain pregame, and Lucas Niang stepped in at left tackle, suffered an injury that will most likely be season-ending, if you take Andy Reid's word for it. Here, I'll let you hear in his own words the opening statement from the head coach of the Chiefs.
All right. As far as the injuries go, Lucas Niang tore his patellar tendon is what it looks like, and then Orlando Brown had a calf strain that he got in pregame warm-ups there. Listen, I mean, as far as the game goes, Cincinnati did a heck of a job. But when you have the lead, you want to keep the lead. So we stalled the first couple series on the offensive side of the ball in the third quarter. And then we had too many big plays on the defensive side. Obviously, Chase had a big day today. Darrell Williams, I thought, played well. He had a lot of yards, and but between the big plays and the penalties, that's what got us. And there were way too many penalties, 9 penalties, including a touchdown on a kickoff return, 4th down play. Where our defense did a nice job of stopping them on the 1-foot line. I'd like to comment on each one, but I don't want to be fined.
Yeah, you can see that from Andy Reid and his animated nature on the sidelines. It's pretty rare that he gets that kind of worked up. Whenever he does, it's usually whenever there's a flag thrown that he doesn't think should be thrown against his team. Saw that a couple times today, and he's right. Again, as much as I do think there are places on that last drive where I think just letting them score there would have at least guaranteed you, because again, you just don't know whenever you're playing the game this way. But if you pull them in, and we'll get to this in a second. In fact, Beers, can we jump around on this one? Can we skip ahead to the third one on the list and come back to 2 there? Because he kind of alludes to this a little bit with that last penalty. If you let the Bengals score there, you know you got to go get a touchdown. You've lost the chance for either a stop there or for a field goal to just go back and score again. But you get to keep your minute and a half and your 2 timeouts that you have. And, I mean, you're going to hear from Andy Reid. Rudy kind of gave me the scoop on this one. Andy Reid was asked if they considered letting the Bengals score near the goal line. And I'm not sure that you're going to get a terribly telling answer from Andy Reid, but here it is anyway.
Sure did, yeah. They took a knee, but yeah. Sure did.
Let's go next to Nate
Which was
Taylor.
the right thing to do. I mean, they did the right thing, though. So.
Hey, Andy. I want to make sure I understood something that you had answered to Adam earlier. Was it your anticipation to let them score at the end of the game, but you didn't feel like they were trying to get in the end zone? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah. I mean, they took a knee, yeah. So.
Hey, Andy. Sorry, I threw out a confusing question. I meant when the Bengals initially got down there, 2 minutes left in the game, was there a thought process there to potentially let them score and have a couple minutes left? And what swayed you in the direction that you went?
Before we stopped him on the 1 foot line. Yeah, so then we took a knee, yeah. And we stopped him. So, and then there's a penalty. I mean, kind of played out.
So, I mean, Andy Reid knows what McDowell's asking, I think, there. The point there is, do you let them score with like a minute and 40 left or whatever it would have been? Not do you try to let them score whenever they're taking a knee? Because at that point, obviously. And I think Andy Reid gave you his actual answer in there, which was him mentioning the 1 foot line, saying, well, when we stopped them at the 1 foot line, you mean when we stopped them and then they took a knee? I think Andy Reid's telling you, in all likelihood, and I'm reading between the lines a little bit, but I think Andy Reid's probably telling you there, no, I don't regret that because we did stop them. And if that penalty doesn't get thrown, that game goes into overtime, which he's right about. That game should have gone into overtime if it was properly officiated at the end there. But if you do have them score with 90 seconds left and 2 timeouts in your pocket, you are guaranteeing that Patrick Mahomes and this offense is going to have 90 seconds to try to go make something happen. Ultimately, minus that penalty, the way they played it out ended up being lined up in a way that would have been good for them. But you saw the bad luck kills you. The bad call kills you as opposed to being a bad play. You can take all of those factors out if you just grab Joe Burrow on the sneak or you part like the Red Sea and let him walk in. They weren't taking knees then. He was sneaking it, and I don't know how hard he was trying, but if you get out of his way, I'm pretty confident Joe Burrow is going to walk in there. So I'm not sure exactly how seriously the Chiefs considered that. I think Andy Reid seemed happy about the way that played out up until the point of that penalty, which was, again, a poor call on 4th down. And this happened on 3rd. Could have just forced a field goal there. I liked them going for it, but it wasn't going to work until that flag came through. Which, again, if you want me to talk later about the refs, I will. I can write it down. We'll come back to the refs and how the NFL can fix some of these problems. But they could have been doing this for years, and they haven't been. We'll pop back up the list here then, Beards, back to Andy Reid on sliding some coverage over to Jamar Chase. Obviously, he was crushing the Chiefs all day. The stat Beards mentioned earlier that's truly shocking. Jamar Chase had more yards receiving than Patrick Mahomes had yards passing. So Andy Reid was asked about sliding coverage over to Chase, specifically on that 3rd and 27 play where Chase ended up pulling the first down out of thin air.
Yeah, well, with hindsight now, I mean, we probably could have helped out a little bit more on Chase. So, but that's we put our guys in that position to make a play to hopefully get to the quarterback and keep him out of field goal range. And so it didn't work out. The guys busted their tail to get it done, and it just didn't work out. So,
all right,
type of things. We all have a little piece of this, coaches and players. So,
I mean, you hear the logic in there, right? Like that's going for the kill shot because they're saying we'll go ahead and take our chances to try to keep them out of field goal range completely if we land that. I just don't know that. I don't think that an all-out blitz and leaving Jamar Chase one-on-one gives you a significantly better chance of getting to the quarterback than playing some messy coverage for Burrow to have to sort through while Chris Jones takes his chances to try to split up the middle there. It's what I would have preferred. And simply a broken up pass is still forcing them to kick a long field goal at that point. Maybe they hit it, but at least you get the ball back. You can go do something yourself there. I just think that I ultimately they went for the kill shot on that. I think they were too cute. They had chances for kill shots earlier also and didn't take them. So taking one there is a level of inconsistency that does pretty consistently frustrate me whenever the Chiefs do have these different things. You say, wait a second, you go for it in 4th and 3 here, but you don't go for it on 4th and 4, 5 yards back. Wait a second, why? You know what's your punt team is out there on 4th and 6 in Bengals territory for a 30-yard pickup. Why? Those are the things that I frankly don't think one of the legitimate things about Andy Reid that can be frustrating to me is that and maybe there's a logic that he's just never going to tell us, but I do think a lot of decisions in some spaces like that do not necessarily have consistent formulas behind them, consistent logic behind them. Not to say that everything is boiled down to a formula. It's certainly not. Football's too complicated for that. There's a lot of stuff going on all the time. You can't have a single formula that you just drop numbers into. But philosophically, it seems inconsistent at times. Also, I just don't think it's very smart to say we're going to give Joe Burrow a chance to throw the ball high and far in 1.5 seconds, and they're going to pick up this first down if Jamar Chase gets up over Travarius Ward. That's a tough one. You are listening to the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City. You can also give a little thanks, a little shout out to our friends over at Missouri Lottery for bringing this show to you today. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play and more Powerball with Powerball with Double Play. For an extra $1, players have the chance to win up to $10 million in a separate drawing. Missouri Lottery. Play responsibly. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. Free CBD samples every day. Back to Andy Reid here. He was asked about Joe Thuney, who ended up playing the majority of this game at left tackle after spending his season with the Chiefs to this point at left guard. Reid was asked how many reps Thuney's taken at left tackle prior to today.
Yeah, I thought Joe did a real nice job at jumping in there and doing it with very little reps, if any. None this week for sure. But he, he's a football player, and I thought he did a nice job with that.
He didn't answer the question, which is kind of funny. Not an answer about the reps. He said he did a good job. I think he's telling you he didn't take that many reps. Thuney sort of let that slip earlier. It was a good effort. Not the issue, though, and also not enough for a victory. Again, I think the offense was fine with the patchwork offensive line there, which I actually think is a much larger, more interesting conversation if anybody wants to have that convo at some point, but we won't get to it here, at least in this segment. Next here from Andy Reid, what does he hope the Chiefs take from today's game?
Yeah, so you learn from it. I mean, as coaches and players, you learn from it. I mean, that's all you can do right now. So, the guys battled, and I thought played good aggressive football. We just came up short against a good team, and so we'll go back, we'll study it, and we'll try to get better from it.
I understand that that's where what you almost have to say from a game like this, but again, the key of this game today and the key of this conversation is not that I think this exposes some fatal flaw with the Chiefs. I don't think that it does that at all. What it does is takes the 1 seed out of their hands, and also not completely out of the picture, but it's no longer something that they can control by just winning their last couple of games. They need help now, and if they do not have this 1 seed with just the one first-round bye in the NFL playoffs now, With just the one first-round bye, only that one seed gets to take off Wild Card Weekend. And right now, the Chiefs will be looking to be one of the teams. They play the lowest-seeded team out of the AFC in the first round because they'd be the highest seed actually playing if the Titans do get that first-round bye. And maybe the Texans get them next week, and the Chiefs could take the one seed back with the win over the Broncos. But as we stand right now, with the Chiefs falling out of the one seed, that is the loss of today. It's not that we know now that Jamar Chase is a tough matchup for any one-on-one corner in football. The issue is that they might have to play that team a lot sooner now, or at the very least, they're going to have to play another meaningful game a lot sooner now, barring an upset in Texans-Titans next week. Last clip here from Andy Reid. Clear your schedule. This looks like it's going to be a long one. Here's Andy Reid asked about the penalties in the secondary and if he was given any reason for the amount of them.
Yeah, no, they told me.
Beards, I think you made a mistake. You want to play the full? We play the full. I'll throw to it again. Andy Reid was asked about the penalties in the secondary and if he was given any reason for the amount of them.
Yeah, no, they told me.
You going to play the full audio clip or?
Yeah, no, they told me.
You having some issues over there, Beards?
Yeah, no, they told me.
Beards talk? I don't understand why you won't play the full audio clip.
I think this is clearly Rudy's fault. He cut this clip incorrectly. I'm just playing what's here.
Hold on, I'm getting an update. Oh, that was the whole answer?
Yeah, no, they told me.
This is like during a break whenever Rudy walks in. He's like, hey, did you know that Beards wanted you to take a break 15 minutes ago? And I just tell him.
Yeah, no, they told me.
Take a break when I want to. Like right now, actually. There's Andy Reid a little quicker after this loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll see if that's true for the quarterback as well. Patrick Mahomes next on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Tired of searching for sports updates in different places? The Xfinity Sports Zone gives you the ultimate sports hub experience. Find games, commentary, news, and highlights all in one place. Use the voice remote to get instant access to stats and scores. Just say, "Show me NASCAR" or "Soccer scores." Plus, get notifications with breaking news alerts and more when the game's about to start. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit an Xfinity store for details. Restrictions apply. Requires Xfinity TV service with X1.
Robert Brogdon's Olathe Buick GMC is announcing a worry-free guarantee on new Buick and GMC purchases. That's right. Buy any vehicle, and if you don't love it, they'll take it back, no matter the mileage, and refund you 100% of the purchase price. They've got the area's best selection on new models like the 2022 GMC Yukon, Sierra 1500 Limited, and Buick Encore GX. With this offer, there's never been a better time to buy. Visit robertbrogdon.com or check them out at I-35 in Santa Fe in Olathe. Customer must register vehicle. See dealer for details.
Listen up, sporting fans. Central Bank of the Midwest invites you to score a better banking experience with our new sporting checking account. Now you can show off your team spirit at the match or on the go with the official sporting debit card. Plus, you'll gain access to Central Bank's award-winning mobile app with more than 30,000 reviews and a 4.9-star rating. So, score big today by opening your sporting checking account at any of our convenient Central Bank locations or by visiting sportingchecking.com. Member FDIC.
Hey Kansas City, it's Jeff Briggs of Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the Victory Effect, our pledge to drive down vehicle pricing for the city we love. The big finish of 2021 is on. Quality incentives combined with all-time low interest rates and all-time high trade values make it a great time to buy. We know it's hard to find a replacement, but did you know if you custom order a new vehicle at Victory, you get to play best ball with the factory incentives? That's right, get an accurate upfront price quote when you order today, and if the rebates are better when the vehicle arrives, the extra savings goes right in your pocket. It's a simple process, and we can show you how easy it is to customize a new vehicle and have it shipped directly to you, complete with your name personalized on the window sticker. And don't forget, if you have a trade, we will buy your car at top dollar, regardless of if you purchase a vehicle from us or not. Visit us at Kansas City's only automotive outlet mall, the Legends Auto Plaza, on the southeast corner of 435 and Parallel, just east of Nebraska Furniture Mart, or online at victorymotorskc.com, where our first price is better than their last.
Hi, I'm Jordan, president of Digital Lagoon, a web and design agency. This year, I'm proud to be celebrating 25 years in business. Here at Digital Lagoon, we can provide you with a strategic digital marketing strategy. With the implementation of social media, SEO, and online advertising, these programs are proven to improve your website traffic. Let us collaborate with you to structure a plan and cut through the digital noise. Check us out at lagoon.com. That's lagoon.com.
Mark your calendars now, January 20th through the 23rd at the KCI Expo Center. It's the RV Show presented by Unlimited RV. Millions of dollars of RVs all under one roof, and they all have lifetime warranties. It's January 20th to the 23rd, the RV Show at the KCI Expo Center. Forest River, Keystone, Coachman, Winnebago, and more. January 20th through the 23rd. Only $5 to get in, and the kids are free. It's the RV Show presented by Unlimited RV. RVShowKC.com. That's RVShowKC.com.
Brian Radke from Westwood One with a preview of Sunday Night Football with Aaron Rodgers and the 12-3 Packers hosting the Vikings. Minnesota is alive in the playoff hunt but can't afford another loss. They did win the first meeting back in Week 11, but they'll need to break the Packers' perfect 7-0 home field record this season to get the sweep. Join Mike Golick and me for the call. Packers and the Vikings on Sunday Night Football.
Kansas City's home for the National Football League. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Third and 27. You still have 3:19 to go. Your kicker, the rookie, has a gigantic leg. Almost Tucker-esque. But you still have 3 minutes to go. I don't know what the decision would be, but you got a third and 27.
I'm going, Zay.
Pick up some of that yardage to make it a simpler kick.
They're coming after you. You got to throw it right away. You do score a touchdown here to throw it.
Put it up. Chase has it. They got the one-on-one right over Ward.
You saw it. I saw it. Tony Romo saw it. Enormous play there. Joe Burrow to Jamar Chase for a absolutely back-breaking conversion on 3rd and 27. That's our play of the game. It's brought to you by Central Bank. Don't hold it against them. It's not their fault. It just was the play of the game. Tell you what, they'll give you better coverage than the Chiefs defense did there. Thanks to our friends at Central Bank of the Midwest. And sorry you guys had to hear that call again. It was an incredible play, though. If you saw that happening in a game you did not have a rooting interest in, you'd jump up out of your couch. In this case, you may have sunk back into your couch because that was an absolutely brutal one there for the Chiefs defense. One other thing here on the injury front. Again, it sounds like a torn patellar tendon for Lucas Niang. That would be season ending, and hopefully would have him back in time for training camp, healthy. And then also Orlando Brown here, per Ian Rappaport, had an MRI on his calf, and a source described the injury as minor. Maybe Orlando Brown is back against the Broncos. Maybe he is back against the first round of the playoffs. We'll see. I don't know what the timeline on Mike Remmers is. He's been on IR for a long time, and he didn't immediately go to IR initially, so it's not like he tore an ACL that none of us knew about. Or at least it would be wild if that was the case, because, again, he was on the active roster for a game, I believe, after his initial injury. So maybe it's the Jerick McKinnon thing where he's just going to be hurt until the Chiefs need help at the position. That sort of seemed like the McKinnon deal. He got activated right as Clyde Edwards-Helaire was injured. Maybe there was a little bit of roster management there. If that's the case, Mike Remmers would be back for the rest of the season, because losing Lucas Niang is a tough blow. But I also think that Remmers is the second or third best tackle on this team altogether. And Wiley has played well, and that's no disrespect to Andrew Wiley, who's done well in a tough spot. But enough about the offensive line. Let's talk about the player they protect. We'll hear from Patrick Mahomes, his press conference from Cincinnati, right after this.
Patrick Mahomes' press conference is brought to you by your Kansas City Acura dealers. They are partnering with Patrick Mahomes in support of his 15 in the Mahomes Foundation. Test drive to make a difference and enter to win a Mahomes jersey. By Xfinity Internet. Stay connected with Wi-Fi coverage that delivers the speed, reliability, and coverage you need. Can your internet do that? And by Westlake Ace Hardware, your home convenience store. Ready with the best brands and the right advice you need to get your quick fixes done even quicker. Stop into your nearest neighborhood Westlake Ace Hardware today.
First up from Patrick Mahomes, he was asked here about what those last 6 minutes of the game felt like when he was standing over there stuck on the sideline.
There's a time and a place for that. They made 6 stops at the goal line. Whenever you make 6 stops at the 1 yard line, it's tough whenever they get a first down after that. So, the defense has to play too. They made the stops. We almost got the ball backed up. We'd have been able to get into overtime and do all that different type of stuff. But, they fought to the very end, and unfortunately it didn't work out their way.
Pretty diplomatic. I assumed he would at least, point out that it sucks to be stuck on the sidelines there. Not necessarily an indictment of the defense, especially at the goal line. Again, I think just letting them score there would have been fine, but you could argue that it played out the way the Chiefs wanted it to. It just didn't end up having the final result because of that penalty called there at the end. As you may have noticed, the Chiefs' offense was fantastic in the first quarter and then scored just 3 points in the second quarter. Now, they didn't have very many possessions, nor any turnovers, which is kind of amazing, but they punted their first 2 times and kicked a field goal on their third possession. That was the extent of their offensive production. Here's Patrick Mahomes about the struggles they had as a unit in the second half.
Yeah, they came out and played a little different coverages and stuff like that, but I think it was just execution, and we were executing at a high level in the first half. We had a couple bad plays here and there from really everybody that kind of stalled drives out. We found ways to score points. We just got to continue to work on being better, and then hopefully going into this next game in the playoffs, we can get rolling.
Hey, Patrick, I know this is a tale of two halves. As Pete mentioned, you had, of course, the 4 touchdowns in the first half. But what do you think they did specifically? Because you all were running the ball effectively both halves of the football, and you ran, I think, for about 75 yards in the second half. What is it that you saw that they were doing, especially in the third quarter, when the momentum started to shift, that they were doing that to you all's offense that was stalling them?
Yeah, I think we just had a couple bad plays. We had the 3rd and 1 where we got the first down. Ended up getting a holding call and an illegal shift. So it moved us back, and we got and then on 3rd and 12, Tyreek got, I guess, tripped up over the middle. He probably had been wide open. So we didn't get the first down there. It kind of stuff like that the entire second half. We had, I think it was like 160-something rushing yards and almost 300 passing yards. So usually that's a pretty good day at the office. We just got to continue to make drives work and score touchdowns.
The ones that Mahomes mentions there, he's at a 3rd and 1. It's listed as a 3rd and 2 on the game cast and everything, but that's what he's talking about, that 3rd and short, where they had the first down to Blake Bell, but it got undone by the hold on Andrew Wiley and the illegal motion on Tyreek Hill. And then even on that 3rd and 12, he points out that he would have had Hill, but he got tripped up and slipped up. They re-showed that on the broadcast as well. But then ultimately, he did convert to Noah Gray still for 6, and they had a chance on 4th and 6. No one has asked about that or talked about that, at least to this point. I don't think Mahomes talked about it either. We'll see. But there are individual things you can point to. The drive before, their first drive of the second half, never really got going much of anywhere after that Mahomes run where he did pick up 17 yards on 3rd and 2. But in that next series, it was just Darrell Williams stuff for a yard, which I just... The running game was pretty strong today, but there are a few things more deflating to me than a first down run for 1. I know that it's 1 yard better than an incompletion, but at least then it feels like you're trying to put out your best stuff, as opposed to just sort of taking 3 feet and trying again. Then on 2nd and 9, Mahomes looked for Travis Kelce. That was incomplete. And then 3rd and 9, looked for Byron Pringle, and that one was the one that I believe was nearly picked off. Just rough stretches there. The Kelce one on 2nd and 9 might have been a drop, might have been a punch out, but either way, that one was one that they really needed there. And then, yeah, it was an interception that Byron Pringle broke up really on 3rd and 9 before they punted it for 35 yards of field position on 4th and 9. Not the most egregious of their 4th down punts. I would have liked to see them go for it on 4th and 6. They didn't. So, you can wish in one hand and watch football in the other. That's the saying, right? Let's go back to Patrick Mahomes here. He was asked if it was difficult if it will be difficult to get ready for this Broncos game next week with the 1 seed out of their control, now needing a little bit of help. Obviously, if the Texans beat the Titans and the Chiefs beat the Broncos, they'd be back in the 1 seed. But is that week of preparation going to be difficult for Patrick Mahomes?
I mean, after you lose a game like you lost it today, it shouldn't be difficult to be ready to go again the next week. So I think guys will be ready to go. We're playing Denver. They're a good football team. They gave us a challenge this last time we played them, like they always do. And we're playing in Denver, which is a tough place to play at. So I think we'll try to fix some things, come back, and play better football this next week.
Yeah, I mean, they're not a good football team. But that's okay. That's what you say. You say they're a good football team. They are currently down 27-6 against the Los Angeles Chargers. Excuse me. Brett Ripien came into the game. I don't know if Locke is back. Also, Kendall Hinton threw a 1-yard pass. Apparently, he's back throwing passes for that team. But they're in a rough spot. Obviously, Teddy Bridgewater had the scary concussion earlier. What was that? 2 weeks ago now. And then Drew Lock was hurt, but I believe he left the game briefly and then did return. But right now they are. Wait a second, where are we at here? This says this. Oh wow. Okay, whoops. Well, the Chargers just housed a field goal, or a kickoff. So it was 20-6, kept it a little close, and then the Chargers took one back to the house there. So. The Broncos have no business beating the Chiefs next week, which means it could absolutely happen. Also, right now, just for a little heat check on the Texans, that game is in the early fourth quarter. Niners are up on the Texans right now, 10-7. Chiefs need the Texans to beat the Titans next week, so maybe they hang tight with the Niners here and try to bring that around next week. We'll keep an eye on that game certainly as next week's action rolls on. Hear from Patrick Mahomes again. Chiefs' offensive line looked very, very different today. Expected to start with Orlando Brown at left tackle, Lucas Niang at right tackle, Joe Thuney at left guard, and then Creed Humphrey and Trace Smith at center and right guard. By the time the game really got going, it was Joe Thuney at left tackle, Nick Allegretti at left guard, Smith and Humphrey in their usual spot, and Andrew Wiley back at right tackle. A ton of moving parts. What was it like playing behind that offensive line today, Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's tough when you lose guys like that. But I thought guys stepped up. I mean, they have a great pass rush, and Joe just kicking out the left tackle, Wiley kicking over to right tackle, which we've always had trust in Wiley. He is a starter in our heads. And so having Wiley out there at right tackle playing really well, Joe kicking out, Allegretti coming in. I mean, we have depth in that offensive line room, and we needed it today. And that's something I think Beast did a great job of this offseason, was making sure we have people that can go for cases like today.
That is 100% true, by the way. I mean, the Chiefs rebuilt their starting five, but they also did provide some real depth across that line. That was one of the more underrated parts of that particular positional overhaul this offseason. I thought Andrew Wiley might be the guy that got moved because I thought he'd have the most value to somebody else, and also his salary was slightly movable. Ultimately, they did trade Laurent Duvernay-Tardif to the Jets for a tight end who is not on the roster anymore. It was basically just a salary dump and gives LDT a chance to play. But the other issue is that some of their depth wasn't available today. Prince Tega Wanogho and Kyle Long, both back on the active roster, were both, I believe, healthy scratches today. And so if Brown can't go next week, they could enter that game with a better plan in terms of who ends up where. But Nick Allegretti can play the three interior positions in a pinch. He really can do that. He's a legitimate depth piece. Andrew Wiley can play either guard spot or right tackle in a pinch. That's legit. Austin Blythe didn't have to play today, but he can play either guard spot or center. He'd be their backup center to Creed. I think he'd take those reps before Allegretti probably. But there's some real depth there, especially along the interior. The issue is that left tackle is where they have the least depth. But seeing Joe Thuney kick out there with their top three tackles down, being Brown, who was hurt in pre-games, Lucas Niang, who is hurt early in the game, likely out for the season now, but potentially good for training camp, and without Mike Rimmers, who's been on IR for a while. Top three tackles were out, and still Joe Thuney played pretty well on the left side, and Allegretti and Wiley certainly held their own as well for a patchwork offensive line. Last thing here from Patrick Mahomes. He was asked about the final 3rd and 5 play where the Bengals send an overload blitz and what his thought process was on that play.
It didn't. The actual blitz didn't surprise me from kind of the film study. Most times when they blitz, they would drop people out and kind of cover some of those guys underneath. So we had a good plan for that. I was going to go to D-Rob, and the corner and the safety did a great job of passing off the post and the corner route. So I got kind of caught out of position and threw it away. But I mean, we studied it a lot. I was kind of ready for them to bring a lot of blitzes, and I mean, they brought some early, and we kind of started moving the ball, and then as the games went on, they backed up, and we ran the ball really well.
You shouldn't blitz Patrick Mahomes. He makes you pay for it just about every time. And the Bengals did. They were able to make him pay for it a couple of times. And ultimately, the offense, again, moved fine. I mean, it moved great throughout that first half. And there were times in the second half where it was working, but they either needed one more play, or they were undone by a penalty, or they settled for a field goal. And in each of those instances, those stumbling blocks became legitimate, somewhat massive burdens they created for themselves that they weren't able to overcome. And that leads you to losing a tight game against a really good team. That's the story of this game today. I'll ask Matt Derrick what he thinks the story of this game is. He's our guy from ChiefsDigest.com. You can also follow him on Twitter at Matt Derrick. Got to speak to him earlier this week, filling in on the Border Patrol. Speak to him here this afternoon and see what he thinks was the most important takeaway from the Chiefs' loss to the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll talk to him whenever we come back here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. It's the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show brought to you by the Missouri Lottery. Remember to play it forward with the Missouri Lottery. More play, more power. Powerball now on Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Also brought to you by CBD American Shaman. When Kansas City scores, you score big at your local CBD American Shaman. Our team's score is your % off. No worries that it's a loss. Still 31 points right there. They scored 31 points, so you get 31% off all day tomorrow. CBD American Shaman, because life is better with the feather. Matt Derrick next on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB. Presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
Hey, Kansas City, it's Jeff Briggs of Victory Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, home of the Victory Effect. Our pledge to drive down vehicle pricing for the city we love. The big finish of 2021 is on. Quality incentives combined with all-time low interest rates and all-time high trade values make it a great time to buy. We know it's hard to find a replacement, but did you know if you custom order a new vehicle at Victory, you get to play best ball with the factory incentives? That's right, get an accurate upfront price quote when you order today, and if the rebates are better when the vehicle arrives, the extra savings goes right in your pocket. It's a simple process, and we can show you how easy it is to customize a new vehicle and have it shipped directly to you, complete with your name personalized on the window sticker. And don't forget, if you have a trade, we will buy your car at top dollar, regardless of if you purchase a vehicle from us or not. Visit us at Kansas City's only automotive outlet mall, the Legends Auto Plaza, on the southeast corner of 435 and Parallel, just east of Nebraska Furniture Mart, or online at victorymotorskc.com, where our first price is better than their last.
Scott Graham here from Westwood One with a preview of Sunday Night Football from historic Lambeau Field with the Packers hosting the Minnesota Vikings. MVP candidate Aaron Rodgers and Green Bay enter Week 17 with the best record in the league at 12-3. But the NFC Conference top seed that comes with a bye in the first round is still up for grabs. Head coach Matt LaFleur.
I do think that we're best when there is a little bit of balance in regards to whether or not you're going to throw it or run it. And, we're fortunate to have a guy like him that is able to make not only the decisions, but just throw with such accuracy. It's unbelievable.
Now they face Kirk Cousins and a Vikings team that dropped to 7-8 last week and are desperate for a win to keep playoff hopes alive. Ryan Ratke and Mike Golick will have all the action on Sunday Night Football.
Remember to listen to Westwood One's coverage of the NFL all season long, right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB.
What are your 2022 business goals? Simplified IT, more security? Dell Technologies has the expertise to help you from transforming your digital workspaces to providing comprehensive end-to-end IT solutions. Get high-performance computers featuring Windows 11 Pro with powerful hardware-based security and savings up to 45% during Dell's New Year event sale. Get special financing through Dell Financial Services. Call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL, 877-ASK-DELL.
Aristotle once said, knowing yourself is the beginning of all wisdom. Plato once remarked, the measure of a man is what he does with power. And someone at Hulu said, hey, did you know that Hulu Plus Live TV's got over 75 live channels? You can watch your favorite live sports, live news, live reality shows, and more. Plus tons of shows and movies on demand, too. It's time to have Hulu Plus Live TV. Live TV plan required. Restrictions apply. Learn more at Hulu.com.
That's what they do, and
Bengals. Watch it fight right through. Darrell Williams to the end zone for the touchdown. Boy, it looked like there were enough bodies around there where it could have even been a loss of a yard or two, but Williams never gave up, and he's found the end zone for the 7th time on the season. 5 on the ground, 2 by pass.
There were some nice plays in this game today, but it leaves you with a sour taste in your mouth nonetheless whenever the Chiefs lose 34-31. Also lose the top spot in the AFC. Not out of the picture just yet, but they would need a Texans win over the Titans next week. Currently the Texans down by a touchdown to the San Francisco 49ers. So grab your Davis Mills jersey for next week and see if the Chiefs can beat the Broncos and even things back up. We'll talk about all that right now with our friend Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com. You can follow him on Twitter at Matt Derrick. Read his work at ChiefsDigest.com. And as always, Matt Derrick's time with us here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show is brought to you by Bob Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, Rooter, and Electrical. You better buzz Bob, now offering electrical services, panels, wiring, generators, updating fixtures. They do it all, offering a whole home electrical inspection for just $99. Call 888-4BOB. Remember the 913. Matt, it appears that we're going to have this conversation again a little later tonight on Sunday Sound Off, along with Jason Anderson and the one and only Mick Schaefer. So we'll get to do our prep run here, but this is the question that I'm asking myself. It's the question I wanted to ask you first. What was the main issue today in this game for the Chiefs? If you had to start somewhere by order of importance, where would you begin?
I would start at who thought that single covering Jamar Chase the entire day was the right call, because I'm an idiot, and even I knew that was not a good idea. I spent all week saying, you know what, the only guy that worries me on the Bengals is Jamar Chase.
Yeah.
So I really don't get why he was kind of diminished as far as the defensive game plan goes, and I get, hey, the Bengals have got a lot of guys, but that guy's special. And there's just no way you can play him that way and get away with it.
I agree with you, and so I'm going to tell you that, and then I'm going to play devil's advocate so you can be the, Angels advocate. Spags lives by the blitz and dies by the blitz, man. Spags is about creating pressure, and yeah, I guess he did call Joe Burrow young Tom Brady, but he wanted to test the young quarterback on 3rd and 27 in particular. That's just Spags being Spags.
Yeah, but you know what? I would rather take my chances with doing, frankly, exactly what most teams do against the Chiefs and do it against the Bengals. Because, one, they have a terrible offensive line, which was proven because the Chiefs consistently got pressure. Even when they weren't blitzing, they were still consistently getting pressure. I would gladly have spent the entire day sending 4 guys after Joe Burrow, spending most of the day in nickel and dime packages, just ensuring that every time that Jamar Chase is out there, he's got a corner and a safety bracketing him.
Yeah.
And you know what? Take your chances with everybody else one-on-one. You know what? Hey, if Boyd beats you, if T. Higgins beats you, who's your mama beats you, who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, you're at least going, with, that to me makes so much more sense. And that's exactly what I thought the Chiefs were going to do. And then when they don't do that at any point during the game, I'm just left baffled.
Yeah, they could have lined up over Jamar Chase, particularly. And this isn't the only play we're talking about, but particularly on 3rd and 27, they could have lined 2 guys up over him like a gunner on a punt, and I would have been like, yeah, that makes sense. Like just unstrap your helmet and just start whacking Jamar Chase with it over and over until the play ends. Because you're gonna get penalized anyway, probably, right? So go ahead and just at least try to keep him from getting off the line there, because that to me was frustrating. There's a lot of things that are frustrating here, but that is one element of it. If you were going to put blame somewhere now, you say, all right, we've got that taken care of. That was malpractice. That was a strategy that didn't make any sense. Where do you look next? Was the defense too weak in that second half? What do you say about an offense that put up 3 points in the second half, admitting that they also only had 3 possessions? What do you do with that?
Yeah, after that, you probably do have to look to the offense. Unfortunately, it's just a matter that if you don't stop Jamar Chase, then you just need to keep scoring.
But once again, I mean, it was the bugaboos that have been the Chiefs' offensive problems all season. It's just the little tiny mistakes. They get a penalty that wipes out a third down conversion, that would have kept that drive going, that they ended up punting late in the third quarter. I know Mahomes was talking about, Tyreek Hill getting tripped and, on the next play and that being the big problem. But I don't know if it was the holding penalty. And was it a hold on Andrew Wiley? Probably. But it wasn't an egregious penalty. But then again, you can have an own separate conversation about how egregious the officiating was today.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, if you're going to get into a shootout, you know what? You got to shoot them out. And that was where I give credit to the Bengals, because they tried to win a shootout with the Chiefs in the first half, and they lost.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if they had continued trying to play a shootout with the Chiefs, they would have lost. In the second half, they took what was the much more reasonable approach of, hey, let's go ball control. And I think that some of that they had to do because their quarterback was hurt. But they slowed it down. They were much more deliberate, much more methodical. And the idea there being, if you can limit the number of possessions that the Chiefs get, all you have to do is maybe get one stop. And that's exactly what they got. I mean, they got the stop that they needed. And, the limited possession game. Yeah, I mean, you give the Chiefs 3 possessions in the second half, you get the stop that you need, you're going to win. And so I think that was the only way they were going to win that game. If the second half played out the same way that the first half did, and it was a shootout, Chiefs probably win 54-40.
Yeah.
And I mean, but it didn't, and I think the Bengals did what they had to do.
I mean, you mentioned it kind of across those 3 drives they had in the second half. The first one was probably just the worst effort because you get that Mahomes scramble and you feel like you're moving a little bit, but then Darrell Williams runs the ball for a yard. Mahomes goes to Travis Kelce, and I mean, you want to talk about execution or whatever. I haven't rewatched the replay since it happened live, but I don't know if that was more of a drop or more of a punch out, but you get that there, and you're looking at 3rd and 9, and he tries going to Byron Pringle, and Pringle has one of the best pass breakups of the day to keep that from being an interception, and then they punt it away. And punting on 4th and 9 from the 44. I wrote a tweet about it, and then I deleted it before I hit send because I thought, I don't want to talk about 4th and 9. But then the next time they come back around, they have 3rd and 2, and they convert with Blake Bell. But then you mentioned it's the hold on Andrew Wiley. If it wasn't the hold on Wiley, it was going to be illegal motion on Tyreek Hill. And then they have 3rd and 12, where they pick up the 6th, and then that play where you mentioned that Mahomes said, hey, if Hill stays on his feet there, I feel like we've got him there. And then they punt on 4th and 6 from the Bengals 45. They get 31 yards of field position instead of taking that shot there. That one frustrates me, especially whenever you have a little bit of a feel of how that half had started. Now, look, the Bengals hadn't gone on their long drives yet. Their last 10 minutes of possession time all came on their next couple. But that was one that in the moment I thought, well, boy, if you haven't had a chance to score yet. You're playing from a position right now where a touchdown would be enormous. You punt this and you give yourself 30 yards of field position. The Bengals were able to erase that and go score very quickly soon after. Did that one stick out to you at all from a decision-making perspective? Because there are a few decisions in this game that I know we'll spend plenty of time talking about.
Yeah, you're going to be able to talk me into the 4th and 6 from the Bengals 45.
Yeah.
Being a bad decision, much easier than you're ever going to talk me into going for it from 4th and 9 from your 44.
It was earlier in the game also. It was a full possession sooner. I don't love that, but I get it. The 4th and 6 is annoying.
I try to live in gray areas.
Sure.
I try to live with my feet in different worlds.
Right.
I'm not an analytics hater.
Right.
There's many things that I completely and totally endorse. I'm never going to go for it on 4th and 9 for my own 44 unless I'm down 2 touchdowns and I'm desperate.
Sure.
I mean, that's just me. I mean, there's no way you're going to talk me into that.
Yeah.
But give me 10 yards, give me another possession, give me half, not quite half the distance, but, 4th and 6 is manageable.
Yep.
I'm much more likely.
You're probably a different section of plays even. Getting 6 yards and getting 9 yards is more than just a 3-yard difference if I'm going to be incredibly confusing about that.
I mean, at 4th and 9, you're hoping at that point that you chuck the ball up to Jamar Chase or Tyreek Hill,
right.
and they either catch it or get a flag.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of your game plan at that point. 4th and 6, there's a lot more things that you can possibly do. So I think at that point in the game that was much more questionable. And honestly, I mean, that kind of ended up being a decisive moment there because that was probably the one possession that the Chiefs could have made something out of that they missed out on. And if they get something there, it's a totally different ball game.
Yeah. I was also fine with the field goal. And in fact, the main analytics model that I look at vastly preferred the field goal there, and maybe more so than even I did. But you get a chance to tie the game and then hope there's a lot of time left. I mean, you're not thinking that's the last time Patrick Mahomes is going to touch the football. But then on that last drive, it's funny, and I felt like Andy Reid either maybe genuinely didn't understand what Mcdowell was getting at or was obtuse on purpose whenever he talked about how, look, hey, we got the stop there at the 1 foot line. I think he mentioned a couple of times. The 1 foot line. They got the stop. But what did you think about the way they managed their inside of the 2-minute warning with everything that went down as the Bengals were able to stretch that out as long as possible? And the Chiefs did actually still get the stop that would have forced overtime if it wasn't for what I think we could all agree on this one at least was a bit of a ticky-tack call on that 4th down play.
Yeah, well, it was definitely a ticky-tack call, and I definitely have a problem with calling ticky-tack calls and at that point in the game. But then again, this officiating crew didn't really seem to care about anything today. So, what's going to happen is going to happen.
Yeah.
And I will offer the same caveat that you did, which the conversation about, trying to stop the Bengals or letting them score was clear as mud.
Yeah.
But at the same time, given chances to reiterate it a couple of different times, no matter how you slice it, it sure sounded like Andy Reid was saying they were trying to stop the Bengals at the very beginning. And when they changed their mind and decided they were going to let them score was after they got the first down.
Right.
At that the point, they were going to let them get the touchdown. And, of course, the Bengals very wisely took a knee to settle for the field goal right there.
Right.
And there was a part of me that absolutely thought that there was an excellent chance that the quarterback, and I can't remember who the backup's name is, was going to take a knee instead of downing it on second down. I thought he's going to forget that he has to down.
That would have been so funny.
He's got to spike this ball rather
oh, my
than take
goodness.
a knee. And that would have cracked me up, but no, he did not.
Brandon Allen. I knew that right away because that's why I corrected you so quickly. It's because I didn't have to look at the box score to see his 0 for 1 and his 39.6 quarterback rating.
Of course you didn't. You're a seasoned professional broadcaster.
Thank you.
Unlike myself.
Sure. Yeah.
So
I also knew his 39.6 quarterback rating, not because I was looking at the box score, but because I committed it to memory. I did the math in my own head.
There you go. 39.6, 158.3. Just keep them in your head, and you're good all the time.
Just good forever. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I would have been very tempted. I say very tempted. I would have gone ahead and let the Bengals score at that situation. I mean, I think I would rather take my chances with Patrick Mahomes in 2 minutes of getting a touchdown than the possibility that you stop the Bengals and then what? Now maybe do you have enough time to score? Do you not? You're just playing for overtime. Who knows? I'm always going to put the ball in the hands of Mahomes.
Yep.
I mean, that's generally what I would think. But then again, give the Chiefs defensive credit. They got the stops.
Yep.
I mean, they got all of them, and they should have gotten one more than they were given credit for. So was it the wrong call? I don't know, but I mean, give it to Andy Reid. I mean, he trusted his defense, and for the, they did like 93% of what he asked them to do.
You mentioned it a few times. Tell me what you thought about the refereeing. I think you probably know this. I think we've talked about this enough. I hate referee radio. I hate it. It sucks. It is exclusively the lament of the losers. Winning teams never talk about the referees. But Joe Burrow actually did today. Like, he mentioned them 3 times in his CBS TV postgame interviews. And then we got some calls, he said. Thrice he mentioned that. I hate doing that radio show. But I think it's also impossible to talk about this game without acknowledging it.
Yeah, I used to have a list. I'm going to expand the list now because you've made such an eloquent point. There's things that you don't care about listening to.
Yep.
You don't want to hear other people talk about their dreams. You don't want people to talk about their fantasy football teams.
Yep.
You don't care about hearing about people's bad beats at a poker table.
Yep.
And you don't care about hearing people whine about officiating.
Yep.
And I completely agree with that. And I will tell you, Chiefs did lose this game because of officiating. I mean, they had plenty of chances to win the game, and they didn't get it done. I mean, if you get some bad breaks, guess what? Good teams overcome them. And if you don't, you know what? That's on you. Because no official is out there actually trying to destroy a team. The officials are not biased against your team. They're just humans, and they're imperfect, and they make mistakes, and sometimes they make a lot of mistakes.
Yeah.
And this officiating crew made a lot of mistakes today. I don't know what the excuse was. I don't know, were they jet lagged because their flight was canceled and they got in an hour before the game? Were they still drunk from New Year's Eve? I don't know, but this was a really poorly officiated game.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it was just missed spots. I mean, you name it. I mean, ticky-tack calls, missing egregious things. I mean, it was a poorly officiated game. And the only disappointment I have in that is that this was, supposed to be the NFL game of the year.
Yeah.
Everybody was circling this as the best game of the season. And we got arguably the worst officiating of the season.
Yeah, and with a well-officiated game, it probably lives up to that moniker, or at least for the game of the week or a pre-playoff game. Like they had it, and the refereeing was atrocious. And if you have anything in particular that you think you'd like to see the NFL do differently, I'd love to hear it. I've got a few things that I'll probably talk about a little later in the show. But one thing for me is that I end up with fans mad at me plenty of the time because my very strong indication is keep the flag in the pocket, let him play, whatever. I had absolutely no issue with Jamar Chase not being called for a push-off on any number of those plays where he does just post up and maybe there is a hand on a back. But, man, if I have a chance to watch an absolute specimen of a human being, if he even is one, do something physically impossible over another ridiculously talented, athletic human being, I want to see that much more than I want to see a yellow flag get thrown with a little contact. But you have to be, but for me, and that's where I come from. It's got to be consistent, though. That would also mean that fourth down flag in the red zone on that last play of the game is a brutal one. I can't. That is as bad as the push-off would have been to me, if not worse. That's where I come from. But I'm genuinely curious what you think should look different and what should have looked different today. That's just that I'm not even saying where I'm at is like the right answer. That's just how I tend to look at it.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. I mean, one thing I will say that I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't like, and I don't entirely know how to fix them. But I mean, I don't like that when a call is, just egregiously bad, and it's not like it's just a official making a poor judgment call, but like the spot on that first is it fourth down or first down? That was egregious.
Yeah.
And I think that the replay officials need to be able to, say, you know what, in egregious situations, that doesn't count as a challenge.
Yeah.
We've got the prerogative to say, you know what, that was our bad. We're not going to cause you a challenge there because now the Chiefs are down a challenge. So now they've got to seriously think about, hey, the next one they challenge, you got to get it right because if they don't, they're out of challenges. That's one thing I would do. I mean, I know, hey, there's going to be people who tell you that the simplest thing is make you guys professionals, that they shouldn't have other jobs, make them all do it. And you know what? I mean, there's something to be said for that.
I think most people listening right now are shocked or at least confused by what you just said.
To make them full-time professional referees.
Yeah, can you dig in on that for a second? Because I'm sure that someone's car is currently sliding across some snow somewhere as they heard you say that.
NFL referees are not full-time. I mean, they, for the most part, almost all of them have other jobs that they work at Monday through Friday, or maybe not even 40 hours a week, but they work a certain number of hours. I mean, there's guys who are lawyers and other things throughout the league. They all have other jobs. And so, it's not like they spend 40 hours a week watching film and trying to figure out how to get better at everything like this or, exercising and keeping themselves in shape. They do those things, but this isn't their full-time job. So, I mean, and there's also good grief. I mean, it's just as bad as Major League Baseball to a degree in the sense that once you got an NFL referee job, it's pretty much yours until you retire.
It's a Supreme Court seat. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have to be egregiously bad to lose your job as an NFL referee. And to their credit, generally NFL officials are much better than Major League Baseball umpires. I'll give him credit for that. But I mean, I don't know. I as much as I like to complain sometimes about the quality of the officiating these days, I mean, I do think that some of it is just that officiating. And I saw some people make this point today, saying that officiating is worse than it's ever been. No, I don't think officiating is worse than it's ever been. I think that broadcast and camera quality is better than it's ever been.
Yes.
And that's why we catch more of these mistakes. Officiators have always made mistakes. We just didn't know when we had, 480p television and we had 3 cameras in the game.
Yeah, I couldn't get as mad at the referees whenever I had to put tinfoil on bunny ears. Like that was a harder time to critique refereeing. There is an entire play in NFL history that it continues to this day to have argument about if that was actually an immaculate reception or more of an immaculate incompletion. Like we still don't really know.
Which we couldn't tell because there was no camera on the ball.
Imagine that. Imagine that happening now. There are 1,000 cameras everywhere. So you're 100% right. Here's my short version. I really think I could fix this with one salaried referee and a pair of AirPods. Because if there is a play where something egregious happens and a referee is just watching TV in the booth, they have their monitors up, and they can correct something before the next play would be snapped, or maybe it's even before the ball gets placed. Where you need to go, whoa, hold on, and he dropped it. I have no issue whatsoever with a referee in the booth having an AirPod connected to a ref on the field to say, nope, that is a first down. Just scoot it an inch forward, you're good. I don't need to know how all of that sausage gets made. We don't really know now. They get into a huddle and talk, and the only way we find out what's said in there is if somebody forgets to turn off their microphone that goes out over the entire PA system. Like we can upgrade the technology here by a little bit and streamline some things. I'm not advocating for every play to have a 40-second review time by any means. There's just easy, simple stuff here, and maybe sometimes it's got to be a stoppage. But if Andy Reid has to get a hanky out of his pocket, we're already stopping the game. I don't think this is an instance of where I'm saying more replay and more litigation. Whenever we know the call is bad at home before the referees do, I think that's a problem.
And that's something, I mean, the league is at least getting a little better than that with that. I mean, they do allow the official in the booth at the game to signal the officials if they've made a super bad, egregious error. Mm-hmm. And give them a heads up, you know what, you may need to fix this. So there's at least some of that there. We haven't gone full sky judge yet, which I do think the league probably needs to go to. I mean, I think that would eliminate a lot of problems if you just had, and frankly, I don't think one's enough. I mean, I think you probably need 3 officials up in the booth watching every single camera angle.
Do you think the NFL has the money to bankroll that? Because that's my biggest concern.
Yeah, that's a real problem. I mean, you might have to do a GoFundMe for the NFL to be able to because they're having such a hard time these days.
Right.
But, yeah, I mean, that would certainly improve the quality of the product on the field. I mean, you're still – now, everything that we were talking about right here, it probably doesn't fix anything or address any of the problems that we have with this game today because the NFL is never, to my feeling, ever going to implement a system that's going to overturn the judgment call. Mm-hmm. So if it's – because, honestly, I mean – there's a penalty on every NFL play.
Yeah.
And the fact that they call one and they don't call another, I mean, you can't fix that. I mean, like I said, there's a penalty on every single play. So it's a violent game. There's probably a crime on almost every single play.
You're right. That's probably true.
And, and I was thinking this, 15 minutes ago we started this conversation about Jamar Chase, pushing off and everything. The Chiefs, if you're a Chiefs fan, you got to look a little way on that because guess what? You got a tight end that plays pretty physical football.
Yeah.
And, there's other people around the league who will say, hey, Travis Kelce pushes off all day long, never gets called for it. Does get called on occasion. But, And at some point, I don't know if you're completely there yet, but you're getting there. You're going to have a day when your quarterback gets every single Tom Brady call.
Yeah. Yeah, that's coming. That is.
I mean, Patrick Mahomes is a couple of years' experience away from just being able to turn to the official and say, "Hey, flag," and they'll throw one for him.
Right. He's going to tell you, you missed that one. They go, "Oh, bleep. Oh, sorry, man. Yeah, here you go." Whoop.
Yeah, because once Tom's gone, I mean, that's when Patrick should absolutely get the Tom Brady call.
There can only be one instant flag quarterback in the league at a time, and once Tom Brady retires,
there can only be one.
Right, and once Tom Brady retires in, I don't know, 7 or 8 years, then maybe Mahomes will be able to take up that mantle. Matt, appreciate it as always. Tell us real quick what's going to be on ChiefsDigest.com tonight, and then people can see both of us and Jason Anderson and Mick Schaefer on KSHB 41 tonight.
You've asked me the one thing that the Chiefs did today that cost them the game. I'm going to have 5 of them on ChiefsDigest.com, and we'll probably talk about some of them, I'm sure, on Sunday Sound Off.
Yeah, if you could just tell me which ones you want to talk about and then get that story up before Sound Off so I can read it, and then I'll just steal your answers if that works for you.
That's typically how it works.
Copying homework will get you far, kids.
Exactly.
I mean, it's simply true. Thank you, Matt. See you later.
Thanks, Josh. Take care, my friend.
Matt Derrick of ChiefsDigest.com, on Twitter at Matt Derrick, and later this evening on television. It's going to be a whole little 8-10 party on Channel 41 tonight. We need to take a break. I've got a stat that I hate and also some audio from the Cincinnati Bengals. We'll talk about those things whenever we come back here on the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show presented by Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman.
You're listening to exclusive post-game coverage on Kansas City's home for the NFL. Sports Radio 810 WHB, presented by the Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shaman. It's coming.
Rodgers under center, takes the snap, looks right, fires right, caught by Devontae Adams.
A yard deep in the middle. Evans got the ball. Touchdown, Tampa Bay.
The home of the NFL playoffs and Super Bowl 56. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Kelsey is in for the Kansas City touchdown.
Sports Radio 810 WHB, America's largest all-sports radio station.
Let me tell you about my other favorite Andy from Andy's Frozen Custard. He's from KC, never misses a game, and serves the world's finest frozen custard. Grab a Pick 6 from one of 9 area locations and tailgate at Andy's. Grab one today.
Family Leisure's After Christmas clearance sale is here. Family Leisure has the best prices of the year on closeout, scratch and dent, and overstock products, and bonus deals for you if you mention 810. Pool tables, foosball, air hockey, bars and bar stools reduced by up to 70%. Hot tubs, tanning beds, and home theater seating at their best prices. Family Leisure has the best products, best selection, and best prices guaranteed. Take advantage of the special 810 deals while they last. Family Leisure, K10 and Ridgeview in Olathe.
Awesome. Happy holidays and happy bowl season from your home for the college football playoff, March Madness, the NFL playoffs, and the Super Bowl. Sports Radio 810 WHB.
Hey, happy 2022 from all of us here at Sports Radio 810 to all of our listeners. Thanks so much for making Sports Radio 810 a great place to work and Kansas City a great place to live. Hopefully 2022 will bring great luck to all of the sports teams you're rooting for.
In these trying times, Kansas City Credit Union knows how important cash flow is in your household. With rates near all-time lows, now's the time to take action. Free up some cash by lowering your monthly car loan payment when you refinance your auto loan with Kansas City Credit Union. And as a bonus, Kansas City Credit Union will delay your payments for 90 days. Visit kansascitycreditunion.com/810sports for more information. Kansas City Credit Union, your path to financial freedom.
Looking for a great place to stay when heading out to the Rockies or downtown Denver? Check out the Moxie Denver Cherry Creek. No stodgy suits and forever check-in lines. They've created a stylish, modern design with all the amenities. And most importantly, a seriously comfortable bed so you can kick off your shoes and get rested for whatever comes next. It's just like home, but with a bartender. Book your stay at Moxie Denver Cherry Creek online at Marriott.com. Moxie Denver Cherry Creek. Moxie plays with the rules of the industry and shows them a good time.
WHB Kansas City.
Is he going to stay up there and be one-on-one all game, or are they going to go help?
Here's the fake and the bootleg, and in trouble. In trouble, no chance. My goodness. What a play by Chris Jones.
This all Jones. You're exactly right.
Chris Jones had some massive plays in this game, and including a couple that didn't show up for much of anything, if anything at all, on the box score. You also heard the conversation there, I believe, was Tony Romo asking if the Chiefs were going to double Jamar Chase at any point or just leave him one-on-one. And you heard two things there in that call, the questioning of the strategy against Chase and Chris Jones making a play that really is sort of a bummer, because more of that late in the game either changes the outcome or at least gets the Chiefs to overtime. But as it went, it was a Bengals victory at the end of regulation. Let's hear from Bengals head coach Zach Taylor here in just a moment. First, I'll let you know that our opposing coach press conference is always brought to you by Metcalf CarStar. If your vehicle gets sacked on the road, take it to Metcalf CarStar, the collision repair experts. They make it convenient and easy to get back on the road. Go to carstar.com and search Metcalf CarStar. CarStar, relax. They'll take it from here. We'll let Zach Taylor take it from here, the Bengals head coach, after a big win for his very young and now playoff-bound squad.
Overall thoughts, you just won the AFC North.
Yeah, just really proud.
Why is this moment so emotional for you?
Well, I think you guys have just sat in here and seen what we've been through,
The performance of Jamar Chase today, what do you think of his performance?
That's why we picked him. The chemistry that he and Joe have together has probably allowed for that to accelerate, his performance. He's a great player. He would have done this for any team, but I think that certainly helps. And, just the plays that he made today, my God, I cannot wait to watch them, because a lot of them happened on the opposite sideline, so I didn't really get to see how it played out. But, I thought that all of our guys just stepped up and made the plays we needed today. Not just on offense, but defense, holding them to 3 points in the second half. Just tremendous effort by this entire football team.
Actually, the catches that Chase had, there was almost zero separation.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. Every catch was contested.
I think that one thing we came to realize this week was how much respect we had for the Kansas City Chiefs defense, because their offense is the one that scores all the points and gets all the attention, but what they've done with that defense is really good, and those corners have a lot of confidence. They play really tight. And so we knew, the message to really our offense was our receivers are going to have to step up and make these plays. And we issued a similar challenge the first time we played Baltimore. And you saw what the result was with Jamar and T and TB, and very similar today with we challenged those guys, and they stepped up and they made the plays that we needed them to.
Is that how you decide to go forward on 4th and 1 here?
You got to go take this division. It's not just kick the field goal and then let Patrick Mahomes do something. I got a ton of faith in our defense to come up there, but the things worth having, you got to go get them and not wait for someone to give them to you. And I thought that's what our guys did today.
Zach, after the offsetting penalties gave you that second chance at 4th down, did you think at all about a field goal there?
Well, no. If we're going to go for it on the 1, we're definitely going to go for it on the inch-yard line. And you'd like to run it in. Number 95, Chris Jones, one of the best players we've ever played against. And I think he stepped up there, it appeared, and their whole defense did. They give us you a tough front. It's an inch you got to get. We couldn't get it, so we went to the pass game there on those last 2 plays. And then, fortunately, we got that call at the end there that allowed us to take the knee and kick the field goal.
Zach, can you describe what it was like in there that moment?
Yeah. Well, just, I think of a lot of earned emotions. You don't want a playoff berth or division championship to be handed to you, something you didn't go take yourself. You wanted to get it with a victory, and our guys did that in unbelievable fashion today. It took everybody, and again, for some guys that just got here, man, they've worked their tails off for this last year. Some guys have been here 2, 3, 5, 10 years, and I think that's just a lot of emotion of this team coming together and being the 2021 Bengals. And you hear it. That's what we're about this year. Love each other, believe in each other, and now we're division champs together.
What happened to Burrow there on the last play?
Just got his knee twisted up. So I don't want to make any predictions, but I think he would have been okay. But he knew we were just taking a knee, so he just said, "Brandon, come in there and take the knee and move on."
It's one decision to go for it on 4th down. Can you describe the decision and how you landed on the 2 play calls you used on the 1 of the biggest plays you did?
Well, it was 2 quarterback sneaks to start. You try to get in from the 1, then we just ran a little, a duo play to try to get in again. Didn't get it. I can't even remember the first DPI, to be honest with you. No, it was kind of a out and back in for Jamar. They got called for DPI and then or holding, whichever it was, and then the last play was kind of just a little bit of a variation from the play that we've had a ton of success with this year, and we've repped a lot, haven't called it a game yet, so it's something we've gotten reps on the last 4 or 5 weeks, and so that those are the kind of plays you want in that critical moment where you got your 3 receivers that we believe in that have really helped us get to this point. You gave them all a chance to go win and separate versus what we anticipated would be cover 0, which of course we got, and ultimately we got another chance at it. So it didn't play out the way we envisioned it playing, but it doesn't matter.
Zach, you were now 3.
Go ahead, Charlie, and I'll come back to you, Mike.
You installed those plays in May, and like how many times do you think you've run those plays?
Yeah, that particular play, no. That was a couple weeks ago, just because we were having success with the variation of it, so we needed a complement to it. And Troy Walters heads up our red zone, and Troy has done an outstanding job in collaboration with Brian. They really get the thing started, and Troy had the touchdown to TB was a brand new play that Troy thought would work, and we got the coverage we were hoping to get, and they did a great job executing it. So both those guys do a really good job with the red zone package.
Zach, you guys were down 14 points 3 different times, and then you turn around and hold the Chiefs for 3 points in the second half. Characterize how you guys were able to do that.
Well, we weathered the storm. We didn't think this was going to be easy. You probably don't think that you're going to shut the Chiefs out. They're going to make plays, and they've got some of the premier guys at those positions. And a lot of the plays they made in the first half, he created some. We were good initially in coverage, and he created some time, and they made some plays down the field. And that was kind of our message at halftime: is they've made some great plays. We've been in pretty good position. They've made some outstanding plays. So our time's going to come. We just got to calm down, keep putting the pressure on them on offense, and scoring points, and let our defense kind of get settled down a little bit. And that's what they did, and ultimately that's how we won the game.
You were always confident you could turn things around here after the first couple of years. But did you think you would turn it around into a monster like this who beats a team who's been in the Super Bowl the last 2 years like this and wins the division title here in year 3 for you?
There's no better way to draw it up, to be honest with you. It's not – I don't know what I envisioned. I envisioned winning division championships and going to the playoffs and doing great things like we all do. But we had to earn it. We didn't skip any steps to get to this point. And I don't want to talk like it's over. This is just the beginning for us, to be quite frank with you. We have a huge game this week against Cleveland. We haven't beat these guys in a good bit, and our players know that, and they're going to be ready for that. And so it's going to be nice to just go up there and let loose and go play good football, and then we move on from there. But just really proud of the position that our guys have put us in. With 1 week left to play, just couldn't be prouder of the group of not only players but the coaches who have gone through this with us. Over the last 3 years, and it's been hard. I mean, it's been hard when you're building something the right way and building something you believe in. Just really proud of the job that they've done to keep up with it.
Sorry, Coach. Did you say you got the 0 looks on both fourth down?
No, we got 0 looks every snap of the game, it felt like. So, those last 2 plays. But, man, they blitzed the heck out of us.
But they're certainly in the last 2 fourths.
Yeah, I think the play before the last play, if I remember correctly, that's kind of all blur at this moment. But if I had to bet, I would bet you that it was 0 blitz on the last 2 plays.
Week after he threw for 525 yards, he follows it up with another performance with 446. Can you put into words what Joe Burrow has meant to this franchise and you personally?
No, I can't. I don't think anybody can. We had great expectations for him, and so far I'd say he's exceeded the expectations. And of course, he's got championships on his brain. He's not about winning big regular season games. I know that's why he's here. He was always playing for championships in high school, winning championships in college, and his expectation has always been to elevate this franchise to be able to compete for championships here. And it's not going to be easy. We've got a lot of work to do. We're not even close yet to doing all those great things, but certainly a big step in the right direction today. And then there's no question that Joe is at the forefront of leadership on this team, and this team jumps on his back, and he'll carry us as far as we'll let him. I got 3 more. I'll do 3 more.
Jamar's 3 touchdowns. The first one, was that the most significant from the standpoint? You're down 14-0. It looks like you're about to be run out of your own stadium, and he makes that play, and you see players' body language change and whatnot. I would agree with you.
I would agree with you there, just because it was just pretty standard third down play. He ran a what we call a pressure route, 10 to 12 yard speed out. Caught it as more of a cover 2 inside hole shot, and then put his foot in the ground and outran the whole defense for a touchdown, and you can't coach that. That's just Ja'Marr Chase being Ja'Marr Chase, and it really did catapult us because you're right, the momentum was not going in our favor. We had, I don't know if they were 3 and outs, but they were 4 and outs or 3 and outs early on. But then I also thought the first one, in the third quarter, jump-started that second half. We were immediately in a third down, and that was a play we worked early in the week, and Joe did a great job seeing the coverage and laying it out there for Ja'Marr, and Ja'Marr finished the playoff. But those two really got us going at key moments in the game.
Like third and 27 there, are you thinking that they might come out trying to hold you guys from getting the field goal? Are you thinking they might get a look where you could have Ja'Marr literally one-on-one like that? What is kind of the conversation about that play call?
I don't remember what the play call was.
On the last drive.
The last drive, yeah.
There, and Ja'Marr hits the 30-yard on the side.
Yeah, so it was okay. I got to remember what the call was, but I'm pretty sure it was just he reacts based on the technique of the DB. And so if they play soft, he's not going to go down the field, and if he plays tight, he isn't going to go down the field. And he and Joe were on the same page there, and that's kind of what these receivers allow us to call a lot of routes like this where they can read the coverage and be on the same page with Joe, and so you can capitalize on the different looks you're getting. And I don't always have to be right. You can call it, and you kind of get the best of both worlds, and we've had a lot of success on stuff like that. I'll go one more. Two more, Mike and Ben.
Yeah, for y'all to have your first 3-game win streak of the season, needed a cheap team like this. I mean, where do you feel like the ceiling is for this team this season?
Well, we need to take it one game at a time right now. I think that's the key. We obviously have always had big vision goals for this team and this franchise, but you've got to take care of the task at hand. And again, going on Cleveland has been going on the road against Cleveland has been no easy task for us. But I think what's important is you got to play your best football at the end of the season, going to the playoffs. And right now, I think we're playing pretty good football. The confidence is really high in the locker room. You don't want to take a team into the playoffs that's just feeling like, oh man, we've hit a lull. And again, I think these guys are in a really good spot mentally right now.
Zach Taylor, their head coach of the Bengals, really emotional at the beginning. Also called Chris Jones one of the best players they've ever played against. Lots of other good stuff there as well. But I also want you to hear from Joe Burrow. You might say, Josh, I don't want to hear from any more Bengals. That's okay. We got Sunday Night Football coming up here in about 15 minutes on Sports Radio 810 WHB. The game doesn't start in 15 minutes, but our coverage will, and we'll have you all the way up to kickoff of the Sunday night matchup. It'll be Vikings-Packers, even though Kirk Cousins out with COVID. But Aaron Rodgers and the Packers going up against the Vikings who have to stay alive tonight. That'll be coming up in just a little bit. But I do want you to hear from Joe Burrow because he may have ripped your heart out tonight, but he's also just seems like a fun dude, a good sport, and charismatic and likable. It's all a lot harder to suffer all of that right after he rips your heart out at the end. But nonetheless, here is Cincinnati Bengals Joe Burrow, Cincinnati Bengals quarterback Joe Burrow after beating the Chiefs this afternoon.
That was fun.
How's the knee feel?
Good enough.
Good enough?
Yeah, good enough.
Is it the knee that you injured last year?
No, it's my right knee that was a little sore after the Chargers game, I think it was. So just re-aggravated it a little bit, nothing serious.
Zach said that you could have stayed in and played the rest of the game. Had there been more time? Is that the case?
Yeah, I would have come back in, but it was just a knee, and I just knew we were going to knee it and then clock it, so I figured, take myself out of risk and let Brandon go in there and do that.
I know I've always been confident in Ja'Marr, but at any point today, with any of the plays that he made, did they surprise you at all?
No. If you're going to play him one-on-one, a lot of times it's going to be a long day for you. And he's a great player. He's going to be a great player for a long time. Great person, too. He doesn't care if he gets 260 yards and 3 touchdowns, or if he gets 0 yards and everyone else, makes all the yards. So, great guy to have on your team.
Joe, when they drafted you, y'all were the worst team in the NFL. Second season, y'all just went north. Did you feel like this was possible this week?
Yeah, I said it in the preseason. We were talking about the playoffs, and I said, we're going to goal is the playoffs, and the easiest way to do that is to win the division. And everyone kind of laughed at us a little bit, but we knew the kind of team we had, the kind of guys in the locker room that we had, and we knew we could go out and do it.
I asked you a couple weeks ago about quarterbacks' legacies being told by performances in December. the last 2 weeks, the passing yards you've been able to put up, do you feel like you're playing the best that you've played in your career?
Yeah, I do. I think I'm seeing the field really well. You got to give their defense credit. They're a good defense, really, really good defense. You know, they made it hard on us today. They had a great defensive coordinator. They had a great plan. They had some great blitzes. They were able to get home. But you know, Zach and Brian made some great adjustments for us, and you know, we were able to get the ball out quickly and get the ball in our playmakers' hands.
Zach, how many different looks did they give you? I mean, how many things did you throw them out of, basically? How many different things did they try to confuse you with, you think?
They were bringing 4 strong this way and 4 strong this way, and they're locking the Mike linebacker up into the A-gap and then bringing Saw off both sides. So they definitely had a good plan for us, but you know, I'm proud of the way that we fought.
Joe, why you hit it off so much with Chase? It's more than just pass and catch, more to it. Or what is it about this guy?
He knows exactly where the ball is going to be depending on the look that the corner is presenting. And you know, I thought he made a bunch of great plays today, but his first touchdown was the best. You know, there's a cloud to the field, and he has an out route, and he felt the cloud corner out there who was going to be able to intercept the ball, and he settled right in the zone. And so I was able to stop him with the ball, and then he did the rest.
Zach said it seemed like every snap there was 0 blitz. I guess it probably wasn't every snap, but what was it? I mean, how much 0 blitz did you see?
We saw quite a bit. You know, we could tell that was their plan when we would get into empty, and you know, I thought we made them pay when we could. They got home sometimes too. You got to give them credit.
3rd and 27, Joe. I think the throw down the right sideline catch he made. Jamar, I think, said that he knows, and you know, that when you're feeling pressure, just throw the ball down, and he knows who to go to.
Yeah, I said it in the post game on the field. Everyone knows that mean. You know, F it. Jamar's down there somewhere. I'm gonna just throw it up to him. He's gonna make a play.
Joe, you didn't think about trying to make a throw to get to field goal range? It was just at that stage of, hey, there's my guy, I'm going to let him go make one?
Yeah, you know, we knew we were going to have to go score a touchdown. You know, you guys know the guy on the other sideline. You know, we were going to have to punch that ball in. We got a little lucky with the calls at the end, but, you know, we've been unlucky for 2 years. We'll take a little luck on our side.
Speaking of 2 years, Zach took over this team when it was in the middle of a roster rebuild, then drafts you. It's still a little bit of a rough start for you. As someone who interacts with Zach on a daily basis, can you speak to the way Zach Taylor has led this group to where you guys are now?
When I had my first meeting with Zach at the Combine, I knew exactly what kind of coach that we had, and I knew exactly where I wanted to be. You know, he's a great offensive mind and a great leader of men. You know, he does a great job. I couldn't have asked for a better situation.
When you hear you're going for it on 4th and 1 from the 1, what's your reaction, and do you say anything in the huddle?
I knew we were going to go for it. Like I said, you got Patrick Mahomes on the other side of the ball. He's going to go down and win the game if you give him a chance. Unfortunately, we weren't able to finish the game the way we wanted to, but we still got it done.
I guess you had 2 successful plays. You know, you kept the drive alive. You just got the 2 play calls of what you saw in the play.
The ones on the goal line?
Yeah.
You know, we did a great job running the ball on those to get that first down on the 1 yard line. I knew, you know, it was 1st and 10 from like the 10.5 yard line, and so. You know, Joe Mixon did a great job of understanding the situation and understanding that we could get the first down. He doesn't have to reach the ball out to the goal line and try to score, but goal line was able to get us that first down. And then, you know, like I said, we got a little lucky with the calls.
Joe, when you talked earlier about saying that you guys were going to win the division and people kind of laughed, as a competitor, does that piss you off? Does that strengthen your resolve? What does that do to you?
I wouldn't say it does really anything. You know, I've always kind of played with a chip on my shoulder, whether people are saying good things about me or bad things about me. And that's just, you know, I've been overlooked for a long time, and it is what it is. People are going to say what they're going to say, and that's the spot that I'm in as a quarterback. You know, there's going to be a lot of criticism, and there's going to be a lot of praise, and you just have to maintain your level-headedness and keep going.
What a follow-up on that, does it make it more meaningful when before you came here, when you were drafted, before that even, somebody said, Bengals can't draft Joe Burrow can't go there because it's going to be a failure kind of thing. Does it mean a little more knowing that you got the Bengals here in your second year?
I would say it means more because I'm from Ohio. I know the history of the Bengals. I know the ownership that we have has taken a lot of heat, but they do a great job and have done a great job building this team. And so, a lot of credit to the Brown family for doing that. And like I said, they did a great job hiring Zach. Couldn't have asked for a better situation from ownership all the way down.
The two throws to Jamak in that last series, both were on blitzes, I think. And both were you were under pressure. They kind of fix it in your face. You can't blitz them, right?
Yeah, they're both 0 blitzes, and you're one-on-one with Jamar if you're going to do that. And so, more power to you. Good luck.
Joe, just win a game like this against a team like this, tell you something about the ceiling you didn't already know for this team?
No, I knew exactly what we were. I knew it was going to be a hard-fought game for us. I knew we could go out and win it, though. I know the kind of guys that we have in the locker room. Defense, they're not going to get as much credit for today, but they held that team to 3 points in the second half. That's unbelievable. So, credit to those guys.
But does this win change what you think it could be the rest of the way?
No, I don't think it changes. I knew exactly what we could do and could be the entire, all the way from OTAs.
Did you know that your nameplate got ripped off?
Well, I saw it kind of hanging on by a thread, going into halftime, but I didn't know it got ripped off in the middle of the game, though.
Joe, from a fan perspective, that's about as good as it gets. 34-31, great shootout between two great quarterbacks. How about for you? You and Mahomes, first time you go against each other and the game plays out that way. Is that about as good as it gets for you?
Yeah, I think so. We played great on offense. O-line did a great job. I'm just excited that my name can even be mentioned in his presence. He's been a great player since he's been the starter. He's been basically the best quarterback in the league, and so if you can even mention my name and his name in the same sentence, that's exciting for me.
2 minutes, Joe. It seems like with Jamar, there doesn't have to be a ton of separation. Even if he's even, it's like, all right, I got him. I know where I'm going to throw it. He knows where I'm going to throw it. Is it that simple with him?
Yeah, it is. If you get one-on-one, I'm going to give him a chance. No matter the point of the game, situation, 3rd and 1, doesn't matter. If he gets one-on-one, I'm going to give him a shot. And T. Higgins made some great plays today at the end, too. He had a one-on-one and went and won that down the field as well.
Y'all went for it on 4th and 1 on 30 against Minnesota in game 1. Zach said, we kind of want to go out and take it. Did you feel that mentality kind of persist throughout the season, and especially the days y'all go for it again with the game on the line?
Yeah, I think, he was just trusting us with the game on the line, putting the ball in our hands, and, it didn't, like I said, it didn't work out exactly the way we thought it would, but it did end up working out for us.
Is it time for a cigar, or is that,
Don't worry.
A cigar game?
Don't worry, I smoked one in there.
Me, where it didn't help.
That's a quick smoke. Was it a small one?
That's still in there, don't worry. Good?
It was just last.
Oh, sorry.
It was just a 20-yard field goal, but what were you thinking when Evan goes out there to win the game?
God, please don't miss it.
It didn't look like you watched it. Did you actually watch it go through?
Oh, I watched it on the big board. It's kind of tough to see the field goals from the sideline, whether it goes in or out, so I always try to watch them on the big board.
What kind of cigar was it?
Whatever Joe Mixon gave me.
Did he give it to you before the game or after?
He actually gave it to me a couple weeks ago. I came in and it was sitting on my chessboard, and I didn't really know who gave it to me until today. And he said, I gave it to you a couple weeks ago. I said, oh, thanks, Joe. Appreciate it. Perfect timing.
So was that with the intention in mind? Did he give it to you then to smoke it whenever
I don't know. You'll have to ask him on that one. It just kind of appeared one day.
Is there video? It kind of needs to, match the previous meme.
Joe Mixon definitely took enough videos.
There's Joe Burrow working on his stand-up set. He was photographed in the locker room enjoying a cigar a la LSU National Championship. It was a big game for the Bengals. It was a big win. If you want to say, oh, they're celebrating it like their Super Bowl or whatever, that's fine. It was a huge game. They won the division for the first time, 15 years? And also, I wanted to read a stat here. They're not going to like. That I just think is something to think about. What, Beards? Beards, just go ahead.
I yawned.
Beards yawned to me, and I did not understand what he said. There's a minute left in the show. Thank you, Beards. From our friend Kent Swanson. The Chiefs are 1-4 against the current AFC playoff field.
Not great, Bob.
it's not, you know what? It's not great. And look, I think that might be might feel kind of fluky just based off when these games happen and everything. But man, if you saw that stat about any other team, I think you would immediately begin questioning how for real they actually are. Thanks to our friends at Missouri Lottery and CBD American Shellman. This has been the Sports Radio 810 WHB Postgame Show here on Sports Radio 810. Unfortunately, this week, following a Chiefs loss, the Bengals win 34-31. The Chiefs need some help from the Houston Texans over the Tennessee Titans next week. Chiefs Broncos next Sunday. We'll talk to you then.
Family Leisure's After Christmas